Good evening, my friend, and welcome here to the XCAL Racing Web Shop 325, live from Pensacola, Florida, on the historic Five Flags Speedway. My name is PDJ Zeller, and alongside me in the booth this evening will be Doug Burns, who's also working the cameras, operating all the equipment while I just talk into a microphone loudly. And yes, Doug, we're getting ready from a 325 lap race here tonight from the Five Flags Speedway. And Doug, this is a track that always puts on some great racing no matter what cars are running here, but especially these street stocks.
Well, you know, when you talk about it, it's kind of the opposite of North Wilkesboro. The front straightaway is uphill, the back straightaway is downhill. Going into turn 3, it's a little bit darker than the rest of the track, so you can lose sight of somebody, or if something goes wrong, you may not have time to react. It's one heck of a fun track to run at, and you know, they can still get, despite it being a short track, they can get 3 and 4 wide here, and I'm sure at points tonight they are going to try it.
I have absolutely no doubts about that, Doug. It should get interesting, no doubt about it. But we're going to get down to some interviews, and while I've been over here with the microphone, I think you've made your way down to the pit stall for the number 5 team, where you've caught up with Derek Colson.
Hey, Derek, good evening, and congratulations are in order tonight.
Apparently.
77th career start, making it. You passed Luke Turpin. You are now officially the XCAL Ironman. Man, congratulations. That is quite a feat.
Yeah, it's been a long road.
I gotta say, Derek, man, you've been here since it started, and I mean, there's a lot of guys that were here when it started, but you're one of the few that are still here till this day, man.
Yeah, I know. Sometimes I wonder if I should be checked into a mental institution, but yeah, I'm still here.
Well, man, how are you feeling about your chances tonight for this momentous occasion?
I don't really know. I'm not horribly great at this track. I mean, it's not bad. I mean, it's your typical short track. Anything can happen at any point. I mean, me personally, probably not very well. I'm hoping for my teammates to do a lot better than I do.
Well, man, I just want to say congratulations. That is definitely an awesome feat, and good luck tonight. Maybe, just maybe, you can get to victory lane.
It would be well overdue, that's for sure. But yes, it would be nice.
Good luck tonight, buddy.
Thank you.
All right, Doug, and now I've made my way a little bit further down pit road, and I'm up here in pit stall number 1 with the pole sitter for this evening, Kendrick Cryer. Kendrick, you get what I believe is your 5th career pole in the XCAL Racing Series, a 2-time winner. But Kendrick, I know the Five Flags Speedway, one that you've had a lot of success on in multiple series on iRacing. So tell me, what are your expectations for that 66 car tonight?
I think we have a really good shot at the podium as long as I play my cards right. If I do, I should be out front, or at least in the lead pack there. I think we have a good shot, though.
Kendrick, I know race car drivers, especially high-level ones like I know you are, they have certain tracks they just have circled on the calendar they look forward to. For example, me, I always had Lanier and Irwindale Outer circled on the schedule as, you know, maybe I might luck into a win in another track, but when I went to those 2 tracks, I know I was trying to fight for a win at those ones because I knew I was good there. Is that kind of the case for you at Five Flags? You have this one circled on the calendar as a race you think you can get the trophy at?
Yeah, I think so. Like you said, I had a lot of very good luck in other stuff here, like late models, even super lates, but I think this track is one of them tracks where it's a very technical racetrack, and I think I have the ability to do really good here because, I mean, I have done really good in the scene. I think we have a good shot, though.
All right, Kendrick, well, before we let you go, you got any crew teammates you want to give a quick shout-out to? Anyone watching at home?
Yeah, I want to thank Moonlight Speed. I'm on their officials team, EHP Racing. Aaron puts on a good show for XCAL, and all the drivers in XCAL. It's pretty fun racing against them every Tuesday for hours on end at night. It's pretty fun, but I think it'll be pretty fun. It'll be fun for sure. And yes, thank you, Petey, for the 66 car.
Anytime, Kendrick. Well, that is the pole sitter tonight, Kendrick Cryer. Doug Burns. A little bit further down pit road, you're caught up with Alex Crapser.
Alex, first off, great to have you out on track as always, but Let's not beat around the bush. No BS here. There's already a comment in the chat this evening. Matt Bear and you had some words in disagreement at Charlotte. How are you feeling about it, and what's your take on everything that Matt Bear has said thus far?
Well, I think that was a couple weeks ago at Rockingham, and I don't know, there's not really much I could say. I screwed up in that moment of the race, and I feel like, in the last 3 years racing this league, I've kind of, not going to say this makes up for it, but I think I kind of earned the benefit of the doubt. Like, obviously I wasn't trying to wreck him. I got one floppa in the last 3 years, so we're just racing hard for the win, and we kind of got together, and if I get what's coming to me, that's fine. We got, I don't even know how many laps this race is. We got 325 laps here. We're probably not going to be racing side by side real hard until the last 100 laps, just trying to be smart with our car out here and make it to the end.
Well, man, I have to say, it is a fun track, but it is tricky, and obviously sounds like tempers are still up in Matt Bear's camp, so drive defensively tonight, but like you said, maybe the benefit of the doubt should be given. Good luck tonight, buddy.
Thanks, Doug. Yeah, I know I'm not going to get the benefit of the doubt from him, but I know my reputation from a lot of the other drivers, I think I have the benefit of the doubt from them. Thanks, Doug.
My pleasure, buddy.
All right, now a little bit further down on pit road, I am caught up with Kieran Lifflander, who's looking to make his first career start here tonight in the XCAL Racing League. Kieran, you're looking to make your first career stop. I know you're formerly a pro Rocket League player. You kind of taken a little bit of a break from that, though, and gotten into iRacing. So maybe just tell me, what are some things you can take from your time in Rocket League and bring to iRacing?
Well, thank you guys first for having me. And things I would take from Rocket League into iRacing is communication with not only your teammates but other drivers. And again, it's the same thing, just like Rocket League, communication, being smart, and I mean, other than that, nothing else really.
All right, well, Kieran, this is going to be your first ever career start in a major league. I mean, just 2 months ago, you had an 1100 iRating, you were a pretty unknown driver. The last few months, you've elevated that iRating now to a 4300. You've been in some really big races. You just got 4th last night in a 5500 SOF SK modified race, but nothing like this that's 325 laps. So tell me kind of how are the nerves like before a big broadcasted race like this in front of a big crowd?
Oh, the nerves they're rolling hard. I mean, like, nervous. I mean, it's like you just said, it's a huge race. It's the first. I'm going to be up against the best of the best, a lot of veterans. And take a lot from this, learn what I got to learn, and probably put that towards the future in my XCAL races, which I will be running like 10 to 12 of these races. So, looking forward to it.
All right, well, Kieran, it's time for you to go grid, go get back with your teammates, and good luck tonight, and hopefully you can keep the car in one piece.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you guys. Have fun.
All right, and that's Kieran Lifflander. As now we are getting ready for the grid here for the XCAL Racing Web Shop 325. And here's your grid. On pole position, position number 1, the 66 of Kendrick Crayer. Second will be the 51 of Edmund Jones, making his best career start. Third will be Zach Edwards. Fourth will be Austin Edwards. Fifth will be last week's winner, Noah Carpenter. Sixth will be Jonathan Bronson. Seventh, Ryan Seams. Eighth, Alex Crapser. Ninth, Stephen Rex. And 10th, Kyle Bartles. 11th will be Joe Campbell. 12th will be Robert Colgan, 13th Adam Gilliott, 14th Brent Mekes, 15th Jimmy Johnson, 16th Jeremy Gilliott, 17th Gerald Poole, 18th Colin Lawrence, 19th Stephen Wetton, and 20th will be Kieran Lifflander, who we just heard from. 21st Sean Andrews, 22nd your points leader Parker Retzlaff, 23rd Matt Bear, 24th Albert Hewins, 25th Jose Godino, 26th Daniel Miller making his season debut, 27th John Friley, 28th Sean Patrick, 29th, Art Hendren, and 30th, XCAL's new Ironman, Derek Colson. In 31st, making his first career start will be Danny Mann, and rounding out the field in 32nd, making his first career start will be Rusty Greer, who I want to have a piece on later in this race, but we'll have to go over that later as we're about to get this thing underway. Doug, as these cars start to roll off the grid here, what are some final thoughts before we go green?
And tempers already flaring with some drivers, but this is not a track where you can get real temperamental. Guys are going to have to keep it under control. It's a short track under the lights, and you know that always gets a bit exciting. So we'll see how it goes here tonight. Hopefully, I'm sure Aaron's going to have his hands full keeping those tempers in check.
Definitely. Race control is always a tough job, and it's going to be a long night from up there in the flag stand. They come by the flag stand this time, and the flag man Aaron Hilbush gives them the popsicle stick, not the popsicle stick, the solo stick. It's in the air, one lap till we go green, and we get underway for 325 laps. On pole position is a kid that has made a name for himself in this league, Kendrick Cryer, a two-time career winner, and he loves Five Flags Speedway. Let's see what that 66 car's got under the hood tonight. The iRacing Chevrolet Silverado pace truck takes a hard left-hand turn, and the green flag's in the air. We're down and away, and Cryer gets going. Edmund Jones did not go at all, and it's going to be Cryer with the lead in the one. Zach Edwards closely behind.
Yeah, it's going to be dicey these first few laps. Guys have to give a little room. Cold tires and not a ton of space out there.
Oh, Edmund gets into Zach Edwards. Zach Edwards is going to hang on to it. They're 4 wide off of turn 4. Everyone somehow saves it. Oh, my goodness, Doug.
Edmund got the wall there. I was speechless there for a moment. I couldn't believe we were seeing 4 wide off the turn. That was insane.
Yeah, pretty crazy start here, certainly. And luckily, everyone hung on. I mean, that was right in front of the whole field. That could have been catastrophe to start this thing. But it kind of worked out, Doug, because everyone's all single file now.
Everybody except Jose Godino. It looks like he may have just had an issue. We'll take a quick look.
Oh, caution is out. Oh, the wrecked in turn 4. The cars are rolling. Zach Edwards gets a piece of that. Edwards gets another piece. Tough break for him.
Oh, there was the 33 just got loose in front of the 20. I couldn't tell if the 20 actually got into him. Let's see if we can get the chopper view on this. But it got sketchy. The 33 involved, Daniel Miller, Art Hendren, and Jose Godino. Looking at as they come down the back straightaway, the 20 of Godino, he's got a little... Oh, the 33 checks up mid-turn. Jose just has a massive run mid-turn, comes through, and they get together. Multi-car pile-up just a few laps into this one.
Yeah, Derek Colson got spun in the aftermath, but he didn't get much damage. But, yeah, Daniel just rolled down the track, and he rolled right into a few guys got damaged. Bronson got a piece of it. Zach Edwards got a piece of it. Ryan Seams and Edmund Jones probably got the worst. But, yeah, Miller did not hold the brakes there, and he just rolled right down the speedway. So, tough break there for those guys as they all accumulated a little damage there. We're going to try to get a word in right now with one of those drivers. Let me dial up the radios right now as we're going to try to get a word in here with Ryan Seams. Ryan, is PDJ Zeller up in the broadcast booth? You got a copy?
I got a copy. How you doing?
Good. How are you doing, Ryan? So we saw you get a little piece of that one. What did you see, and how's the car, Ryan?
I think the car's good. I saw the car up high, but Zach was in front of me, so I couldn't really see the car. Down low, then I saw him right at the last second, and he was rolling down the track, and, well, Zach took a hit, and I hit the wall.
Well, good to hear the car sounds like it's okay then, Ryan. You always have a lot of fans watching these XCAL races, so do you want to say anything to them before we let you go talk back to your crew?
Yeah, I just appreciate you guys watching every week.
All right, well, good luck, Ryan, and I hope the car stays in one piece for you.
Thank you, Petey.
Hey, a quick word to one of my personal fans, Ty Dickinson. Miss you too, buddy. Yes, DIFA for sure. And Floral, you should be able to save the video.
All right, so that was a quick caution here to start this race. You know, Doug, these races typically don't have cautions right away. I mean, that was a pretty uncommon thing.
It really, really was, especially that quickly. And man, we almost had one early on when Edmund started having some when they were bumping around up at the front, but then it all just went nuts mid-pack, and it looked like there was just some cars struggling. Maybe they don't have the setup dialed quite the way they want to yet, and it could be a long night for a few drivers.
All right, so we're going to be on green this time. Kendrick Cryer still in first. Second's now Noah Carpenter. Third, Austin Edwards. Fourth is Jonathan Bronson. Fifth is Zach Edwards. Don't forget, those two guys got a piece of that wreck. We'll have to see if their cars are affected. Here we go through 3 and 4. Cryer has the field at his toe. The pace truck pulls off. Cryer with the field at his mercy. He lets it go. Green flag in the air, and oh my goodness, Noah Carpenter didn't go at all. That was even worse than the last start with Edmund Jones, and Austin Edwards easily takes over second.
Looks like starting on the outside tonight is really problematic. It is hard to see the car in the lead, but especially in an uphill, in the dark, and everything that you got going on here at Five Flags, it can be a little bit tricky out there. So these guys are going to have to get started on the outside. They're going to have to be extremely careful to have any chance of staying in this.
Yeah, so looking through the field, things getting single file right now. We're single file all the way through the top 10. You have to get back to about 11th place, or excuse me, 12th place for the battle. Adam Gilliott just got around Jenny Johnson right now, so he's picking up a spot. Gilliott on the move, and, you know, Gilliott was really quick in the heat races, Adam Gilliott, that is. Brother Jeremy was quick too, but Adam definitely seemed to have a little bit more pace out of the two. And another driver on the move already, just passed up in the 13th. Parker Retzlaff, after starting in 22nd position, the points leader, is on the move here as he is already up into the 13th spot here, just 12 laps in.
Parker has had so many close calls with victory lane so far this season. Every race he's really been in contention, so it's going to be interesting. He's got the points lead, definitely off to the right start for the season, but how soon will it take the NASCAR driver to get to victory lane? I mean, he's a real-world NASCAR Xfinity truck driver, still unable to get to victory lane. I think a lot of drivers expected him to come in and be very dominant this season, but they kind of forget just how the caliber of people in XCAL.
Yeah, it is not on his way. 3 races, all of them he had a shot to win, but 3 rookie mistakes cost him all 3 races, and that's just the way the cookie crumbles there for Parker Retzlaff. Here we go, battle on for about the 6th position. Looks like Kyle Bartles, or actually this is 7th. Kyle Bartles peeking to the inside of Ryan Seams. Nothing doing there right now. He can't get anything going. A little bit further back, Steven Rex races side by side with Alex Krapser. This is for the 10th spot. Rex on the inside. He will take that spot away from Krapser. Now Gilliott moves to the inside. Further up front, though, moving back ahead, Edmund Jones. He got underneath Zach Edwards, and Zach Edwards starting to fall back on the outside, and I wonder if that damage in that wreck is affecting him, because I think that car got one of the worst pieces, and he just looks kind of tight right now.
Yeah, the car does not seem to want to turn, especially mid-corner, and it's worth mentioning, and Zach is starting to blink as well, but it is worth mentioning that, man, at this track, you might be tight early on, you might be tight on corner entry and mid-turn, but corner exit, especially coming off 4, everybody's going to be loose by the end of the run. So they did have to set the cars up a little bit for a tight handling track just to get through that first few laps.
And now we see Noah Carpenter dropping back a little bit. Kyle Bartles, who's had an incredible start to the season in that 7 car, he goes to the inside. He takes away the 6th position. Bartles up to 6th now. Here we go. Joe Campbell looking to the inside. He's going to take 7th from Carpenter. Now Gilliott's looking to the inside. He's looking to take 8th away from Carpenter, as Carpenter was just up in the top 3. Meanwhile, up front, Austin Edwards, Kendrick Cryer, the Moonlight teammates, and Edmund Jones and other cars affiliated with them. It looks like Cryer starting to pull a little bit as they come up on some lap traffic right in front of them. They're going to go around Art Hendren, who's already 8 laps down. A brutal start to this race for Hendren. As Hendren, this is a hometown race from Hendren from the Florida area, but this one obviously not quite going the way that Hendren might have hoped in the early going. Going through the field, though, a few stories we want to cover here tonight. Let's start off with the 28 car, running about mid-pack right now. He's making a pass for 18th on Colin Lawrence. By the way, this is also Colin Lawrence's XCAL debut. But right now I want to talk about Danny Mann. This is a guy, Doug, he races Bandoleros in real life. He was actually a Bandolero champion at his local track. Oh, and he gets up the track into Lawrence. He saves it. They're 3 wide. Colgan goes to the inside, and this could get sketchy. let's see how this goes, and there's still 3 wide, no one's giving up, and no one's giving an inch here. Colgan drives him up the racetrack, they all hang on, looks like everyone's going to live to fight another day. What I was going to say is, man is a champion bandolero racer from the Wisconsin area. He's actually knows Kendrick Pryor in real life. This is a young kid, though, that has put up really good times in practice all week. He's already up to 18th after starting in 31st. He's shown incredible speed, Doug, but he's only 12, 13 years old. And when you're young, you're impatient. You don't have that veteran's canny experience. And it's become apparent that Danny Mann, you know, he's not afraid to dish it out, but he can also take it, too. He's shown us in the heat races. And this young driver, just like we saw in that moment, in that 3-wide situation, whether it's good or bad, it's always electric near this rookie making his first start.
Yeah, it is definitely an interesting start. He's obviously making his way forward very quickly, but like you said, one of the keys, especially in an XCAL race, when you're talking about the length of the race, these kids, they've got to have some patience. They've got to think about the long run. You get a kid in here who may have never ran a race this long, and he's got to try and figure out the right balance there. Looks like right now his balance is all forward. He just wants to send it to the front, deal with the consequences once he's up there, but he's having a great start.
Yeah, he certainly is. And speaking of having a great start, up front, Jonathan Bronson has taken the lead. He did it the hard way. He passed Edmund Jones, then he passed Austin Edwards, then he passed Kendrick Pryor, and now he is leaving the field in his dust right now. This is also a hometown track for Jonathan Bronson, and there's never been a question about the talent level that Bronson possesses. But Doug, right now, 30 laps in, that 69 car, it's looking like it's probably the fastest car on track right now, as he is just a rocket ship right now. I mean, we know how fast Pryor is tonight, and he blew past Pryor like Pryor was nothing.
Yeah, Cryer not easy to pass up front, and he brought Ryan Seams with him. Seams now up into second, but doesn't even look like Seams can keep up with him. Bronson is just starting to put a little gap, 100th here, a 10th here, but it is a noticeable gap. He seems to have 3 and 4 and the front straightaway really figured out, as that's where he seems to put the most space on. But he's been fast all the way around the track, and he may be very tough to beat before the night's out.
Your top 5 as we run: Bronson, Seams, Cryer, Austin Edwards, and the Kyle Bartles. So that's your top 5 as we run. Knocking on the door, Adam Gilliott in 6th place right now. Great racing going on all around the speedway right now. Moving back a little bit further in the pack, looking at Kieran Lifflander. He's up to 14th after starting 20th, so another young driver making his first career start. You know, Doug, Rocket League, a much bigger deal than iRacing. I'm an iRacer to the core, but Rocket League, hundreds of thousands of people, millions of people watch the championship games in Rocket League. He was on a professional team, NRG, over there, and he is considered one of the best players in the world. He's a top 100 player in the world, ranked on Rocket League. You can look it up and see him on there. And one of the best players in the world in what is a huge, huge competitive game. And he's turned over to iRacing now, though. He felt like he was just getting bored with Rocket League, wanted a new challenge, and he's trying iRacing out. And this is his first career start in XCAL, but so far, so good. And, you know, what I've learned working with this kid, Doug, because I've kind of been his coach. I've trained him a lot, and I've been the one that's kind of helped him develop his skills. He's so coachable, Doug. He's like a sponge. This kid just takes information and he actually processes it, which I can't say about a lot of kids I've had to coach. And, you know, it's easy to see why he was so great at Rocket League, watching how quickly he's picked up iRacing.
Man, it's obvious. You mentioned just a month or two ago he had an 1100 I rating. He's now up to 43.24. I mean, he's obviously got a lot figured out here already, and his driving tonight so far looks like he is making his way up, although maybe not quite as aggressively as what we were looking at up from Mann a few moments ago. So, you know, this could be a situation where he has the right balance of aggression and patience. A lot of these new young kids in the group will be interesting to watch.
Yeah, the youth movement. You know, it's funny, Doug. A few years ago, Jonathan Bronson, Kendrick Pryor, Austin Edwards, Noah Carpenter, those were the new young guns in XCAL, the unknowns, the guys that had to prove themselves. Well, now those guys, they've won ahead, they've won races, they've won championships, they've proved themselves in the series, and, you know, now they're kind of becoming the wily veterans of the series, and now maybe we're seeing the next generation of young XCAL superstars starting to develop.
Could very well be. It'll be interesting to watch the progression, and who will be the next Austin Edwards? You're talking about the guy who has the most career XCAL wins, the most season wins, I think he has a pole position record as well. The dude just goes out there and dominates. Which one of these kids will step up and give Austin a challenge, and which one will be the next Austin Edwards and be that dominant driver? You know, and we talk about NASCAR back in the day. You used to see guys like Dale Earnhardt or Richard Petty just dominate, winning everything under the sun. But along came a time in the early 2000s where you didn't see the dominance like you did from Dale or Jeff Gordon. Now we're reaching that point here as well. There's just so much talent. It's hard to get out here and get to victory lane.
Problems for Danny, man. In his debut, he ran out of gas. That's early. He must have started the race with not a full tank of fuel. As he ran out of gas in turn 2, limped it around to the pit stall. He did make it to his stall, but he's in the pits right now getting full service. And a rookie mistake there, Doug, from Man, as this XCAL, you know, it's not going to be easy for all these kids making their debut. It's going to be a big learning curve, and for Danny, man, a pretty big mistake there as he brings out in the pits. Up front, though, Jonathan Bronson and Ryan Seams have pulled away, but Ryan Seams looks every bit as fast as Bronson right now, and Ryan Seams, a guy that's never won an XCAL race, and not to be disrespectful, but he's never really came particularly close. You know, there's never been a race where he dominated and it looked like it was Ryan Seams' day. He's had a lot of great top 5 runs. He's a great, consistent top 10 runner, but he's never had speed where you're just like, you know, I think Ryan Seams might win this race. Well, right here, right now, as we're 44 laps into this 325-lap affair, Ryan Seams is looking every bit of a car that has the ability to win this race.
It definitely does. And every week he's been getting faster and faster and faster. But you talk about the consistency as he starts to look to the inside for the lead. He has consistently been in the top 10 all season. He was consistently making his way up all last season. He just consistently keeps moving forward. And to get to victory lane, first you got to get all those top 10s. Once you get that, then you work on the top 5s. Now he's in that position to get to victory lane. Tonight very well could be the night, because now we were talking about Bronson looking fast earlier. I think Seams has something for him, especially on the long run.
Yeah, exciting.
Did we lose you, Petey? Looks like we might have lost Petey for...
I'm here, Doug. My keyboard died, unfortunately, so I'll fix that next commercial break, but I'll be voice activation for now, so sorry to ain't creaks and moans you here, but great battle up front. Oh, before we get to the first pit stop, Doug, there's another driver making their first start tonight that I want to debut, and this driver actually has pulled the car off the track, so it looks like they're done for the night. But it's the 454 of Rusty Greer. He made a start tonight on the historic number owned by Luke Turpin. Doug, this is the guy that joined iRacing on iRacing's first day, did Greer. He got iRacing the day it came out. He was actually a featured AI character in NR 2003. He's been heavily involved with sim racing since its inception. This guy joined iRacing on its opening day. He won the first 5 SK Modified overall championships on iRacing. He won the first ever Legends overall championship on iRacing. He won the first 3 late model championships ever on iRacing. And then he stopped racing in 2013. He took time to focus on helping a young iRacer get a little bit better. That young iRacer, Ty Majeski. He went on to become Ty Majeski's setup builder in the Modifieds, coached him a lot, helped Majeski reach the heights he reached in iRacing on the Posse, and now these days he just kind of races occasionally here and there, but he was in practice this week. I desperately needed a driver for that car, and you know, Doug, for me, when I first joined iRacing back in 2010, 2011, he was winning every SK race, and I'm from the Northeast. I love modified racing. That guy was my hero. I never had anything for him, but I always idolized him, and now as I've become one of the better modified drivers on the service, he was always someone I looked up to. So even though he's only going to do a start and park effort tonight, it looks like his night's already over with. He's quite old now, Doug. He's somewhere in the 70s or 80s, I believe. He's an older guy, but this guy is truly, I want to give him his props, you know, before he's out of the race. This guy is truly a guy that laid the groundwork so guys like Jonathan Bronson and Kendrick Cryer can walk. If there's no Rusty Greer and guys like him, you know, we're not here tonight. So thank you, Rusty, for running my car tonight. I've idolized you since I started iRacing, and you know, truly, Rusty, it was an honor to have you drive my car, even if just for a start and park effort.
I have to say, too, once you explained who he was, I knew Rusty back in the Papyrus days, back in from the late 90s, early 2000s, back when we had the NASCAR racing sim. That's a bit of a memory there for me, so I am glad to see that guy on track. I hope we see him out for a whole race this at some point this season, and I hope we see him in victory lap.
Doug, he just told me I asked him to run the races. I get my keyboard fixed, and because my driver didn't complete their MMP, so I desperately needed someone, and he just hops in hosted sessions, and he happened to accidentally do MMP. And he told me, Doug, he said, I'm too old to run a race that long, but if you just want me to start and park the car, I'll run till I'm not having fun anymore.
Well, man, it is awesome to have him out here tonight. We're going to take our first commercial break, and we'll be right back, and hopefully Petey will have his keyboard fixed.
Welcome back, folks, here to How on Suck at iRacing. My name's PDJ Zeller, alongside Doug Burns. We're getting back through the XCAL Racing Web Shop 325. It looks like green flag pit stops are starting to get underway here. And just one last time, Rusty Greer, me and Doug were talking in a break. That guy is, these young kids don't know it, but that guy is genuinely probably one of the greatest to ever plug their steering wheel into a computer. So his race is done for tonight. I just, one last time, want to recognize how much we had one of the greatest sim racers of all time in the field tonight, and probably every person under 20 didn't even realize that here, Doug, as we get back to racing action.
No, they really didn't know that they were racing with sim racing greatness. That guy, he was amazing back then. I guarantee he's still amazing. Bronson still in the lead, Seams in second, Kendrick Cryer in third, Austin Edwards in fourth. Adam Gilliott up to fifth now. A few drivers starting to make their way forward. Sean Andrews now up 10 spots into 11th. And Matt Baer up into 17th. Parker Retzlaff now up into 18th. Really surprised Parker's not made up more ground already.
Yeah, and Doug, he kind of struggled in practice this week, which is uncommon. He hadn't been struggling in practice at all, but it just had not gone his way in practice, and he just hadn't quite had the speed, but I'm sure we'll see more out of him as this race goes on. Looking through the field, though, Doug, just want to mention a few cars look like they're out of the race. Arth Hendren has brought that car behind the wall at his hometown track. He's put it on the hauler. Hendren is done for the evening. Danny, man, that car's still in the pit stall right now. And Doug, I don't think he ran out of gas, actually. I think he blew the motor in the 28. He had a lot of nose damage, I just realized. And it looks like they're really working on it right now. I think he cracked the block in that thing, so they're putting a whole new engine block in that car right now. It's going to take a while. So Danny Mann's sitting down there. Jose Gaudino, 30 laps down. He's back on the track after extensive damage, but that car obviously pretty out of the fight, 30 laps down. And Rusty Greer, as we mentioned before, he has pulled that car onto virtual hauler. He's done for the evening. In the pits right now, we have Gerald Poole. Gerald Poole is already in the pits. He's back on the track now, but down on pit road, Derek Coulson, Sean Andrew, they're going to lead off green flag pit stops here at about lap number 7.
Yeah, not seeing a lot of guys trying to stretch it here. We knew the window was about 70 to 80 laps. Here comes Bronson giving up the lead. Edmund Jones going to follow him in. Kind of expected to see a few guys go a bit further, but nobody trying to do it. And for the first time tonight, look who's in the lead. Oh, he's coming in now. Flying Ryan Seams headed to pit road.
Yes, Seams just needs to be good in the pits here now, especially having a fantastic evening here from Five Flag Speedway. So Seams brings it down. That relinquishes the lead back to Kendrick Pryor. Austin Edwards cycles through back to second. Joe Campbell in third. Fourth, Kyle Bartles. Fifth, Stephen Rex. And Pryor shows the way around Five Flag Speedway. Looking through the field right now, Stephen Rex, as I mentioned, in fifth. Jimmy Johnson in sixth. Seventh, Steve Wetton. Eighth, Robert Hogan. Ninth, Matthew Bear. Pentamo Carpenter. So pre-race, Doug, we kind of talked about Matt Baer's rivalry with Alex Crapser after the finish at Rockingham. Well, Matt Baer, he has not had a lot of speed in practice this week. He has just not been very good here. His team has a very good setup for this track, but Baer has not been able to figure this place out. So for him tonight, he's just trying to salvage some points, especially after Luke Turpin had a bad run in that car last week. He's hoping that he can just strategize his way to the top 10. Because Baer, unfortunately, just does not really have the speed all weekend as he brings that car down to the pits.
Yeah, you know, this is a very, very unique track. We mentioned it earlier. The front straightaway is uphill, the back straightaway is downhill. The exact opposite of North Wilkesboro. And these unique tracks, they definitely push the drivers. They make them work a lot harder. They have to learn a lot more to make it work. And these guys some of the drivers just adjust better to the different tracks than don't. And it's just a question of how well you adjust to a slightly different track combo. Austin Edwards now coming by to take the lead. The first time we've seen him in the lead tonight.
Edwards takes the lead as Pryor comes down into the pits right now. A few cars still on the track. Austin Edwards, Steve Wetton making the gas last year so far. Noah Carpenter, Alex Crapser, Parker Retzlaff. And those are your cars still out on the speedway right now. Edwards going to go by, complete yet another lap here. And, you know, I was kind of thinking maybe Retzlaff was saving a lot of gas back there, but it looks like Edwards was saving gas up front too, and he has an 8-second lead over Retzlaff. So, I mean, things going well so far for Edwards as he is still going to stay out another lap. He's going to make it at least 80 laps here on the opening run, so waiting to see when the rest of these guys are going to come down. Looks like everyone else staying out. Oh, Stephen Wetton had a moment, and it looks like Steve Wetton, I think, ran it out of... No, he just got loose. He didn't run out of gas. He got loose, and he gets into Retzlaff, hangs on to it. Retzlaff up the speedway. Wetton hangs on, and disaster avoided here.
Looked like Stephen Wetton was actually trying to get to pit road, and this is a tricky pit road entrance.
Sean Andrews is around. Caution is out.
And Retzlaff and the others just showed one of the smartest moves we'll see tonight. Retzlaff has been perfect strategically so far. Here we go, looking, there's Wetton going to pit road. There's a bunch of folks having to check up to adjust for him. And oh, Sean Andrews, a couple of hard licks there, gets around and blocks the entire track. Only one car getting into him, though. That was a close one.
Yeah, and you know what this just did here, Doug? It trapped everyone 8th on back, 3 laps down. So, Jonathan Bronson, who was leading this race, trapped 3 laps down. Ryan Seams, having a career night, now trapped 3 laps down. And, yeah, unfortunately there, the strategy does not quite work out for those guys. Will work out for Austin Edwards, though.
What the heck? Parker Retzlaff skipped pit road entry this time. Looks like Crapser does as well. Maybe they'll be coming back down the next time, but these two are going to take first and second. John Friley to third. Zach Edwards now to fourth. And like you said, a bunch of really, really fast cars are now trapped 1 or more laps down. This could get ugly as drivers try and unlap themselves here tonight.
Yeah, and I'm dialing up the radio right now of the car that was leading a lot of that first stint here, and I think we got a copy of Jonathan Bronson, PDJ Zeller up in the booth. You got a copy?
Sure do.
Well, Bronson, you and Ryan Seams looked like the two cars to beat. So first off, how did the car feel on that first stint? Because it looked like a rocket ship.
It felt just okay, but I wasn't pushing too hard. Maybe a little harder than I should have been, but you know, I'm just driving. I don't see no point in saving too hard.
Well, Bronson, speaking of saving, looks like a few guys saved. They were able to stay out, and they kind of trapped the field 3 laps down here. So what's the strategy play for you now as the field is kind of trapped 3 laps down?
I'm just going to drive. I don't know. Something happens. I'm just going to drive and... Oh, I just hit someone in the pits. Okay, I didn't know you could do that. But I'm just going to drive around, just keep driving around. Circles. You know what I'm saying?
All right, so you're going to keep driving in circles. Anything else you got to say, or you ready to go back to your team?
I'm ready to go back to my team.
All right, good luck on the circles, Bronson.
Thank you.
You can hear the frustration in Bronson's voice, but I about fell out of my chair when he said, I'm going to drive in circles.
That was the most Jonathan Bronson answer I ever heard. That's all I have to say.
You know what? Jonathan Bronson is starting to become the Tony Stewart of XCAL.
He really is, as we'll see if he should be getting a wave around here. And, it looks like he's going to not get the wave around for some
reason. The top 3 just came in, I'm assuming, to top off on fuel. Interesting strategy move here. Parker Retzlaff, Alex Krapser, Zach Edwards all in. They've already been on pit road once. I'm wondering what in the world is going on here, but yeah. This might help a few of those drivers that ended up trapped 3 laps down. This is going to actually put them restarting towards the tail end of the field more than likely. So Krapser is going to be the first one of that group out. And Austin Edwards looks like he's going to assume the lead.
Yeah, or we'll see. Things still have to get sorted out. I'm starting to think John Friley might end up being the leader, but we're going to have to see. So things sorting out here right now.
And let's mention, because I was starting to, before the caution came out, Parker Retzlaff has had perfect strategy week in and week out. I've often wondered, I've never asked, but we'll have to, if we get to interview him tonight, we'll have to ask if his real-life crew chief is actually helping him here. Because his strategy is just amazing, and it works out every time.
Yeah, unfortunately, though, Doug, it hasn't been working out at the end of these races, as he's found a way to lose all 3 of the first ones. So we'll have to see if he's worked on the end-of-race strategy here for this one.
Yeah, I think end-of-race strategy should probably take something out of Bronson's book. Just drive in circles and maybe add a little full send to it.
Maybe so, but I'll tell you what, Doug, I don't know if I would take it out of Bronson's book after watching the many, many ways he's managed to lose an XCAL race. Here we go. Green flag back in the air. Edwards is the leader, but he's mired mid-pack. Edwards brings the field to the green flag, and Edwards is out the top, and here we go. Krapser is behind him. So there's 6 cars on the lead lap, and they are as follows. Austin Edwards, Alex Krapser, Noah Carpenter, John Friley, Parker Retzlaff, and Zach Edwards. 1 lap down is pretty much everyone else. Bronson, in a terrible strategy call, got himself trapped 2 laps down. I don't know why he came down the pits when he did into that caution, but it's going to hurt him. As Bronson now is trapped 2 laps down. And Ryan Seams also, he is just trapped 1 lap down. So we're going to keep track on things, but up front it is Austin Edwards, and right in front of him is the last car 1 lap down. That's Kendrick Pryor, his teammate, and you know Kendrick's going to be fighting like heck here to make sure he stays only 1 lap down, even if it's a teammate.
Yeah, he really is. Kendrick doesn't give up very easily. He's staying in this fight, but worth mentioning too, Zach Edwards is really starting to have some bad. Wow, Kendrick is mired in traffic. These guys are battling here like it's the last lap, but they're just trying to get themselves back into a wave around position. Kendrick in this mess as well as several others. But Zach Edwards, the last few laps, has really been having some connection issues. I would not be surprised for Aaron Hillebush to step in and say something before long.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. He is having a hard time out there, but Up front, it's Austin Edwards. Keep an eye on Kendrick Pryor. Remember, he ran about between first and third that whole first stint. He goes to the inside of Jeremy Gilliott. He's looking to take away the 16th spot, and he will up front of him. That is Robert Colgan for another spot. All these are spots in front of Kendrick Pryor, and for Austin Edwards, all these are cars he can potentially trap 2 laps down, so we'll have to see what Edwards does here, as he's now in the bumper of Gilliott, who in 17th is the last car just 1 lap down. Remember, only 5 cars on the lead lap right now, and I gotta give a shout out to John Friley. He played the strategy perfect here, Doug, as he sits in 5th right now, and John Friley having a career day so far after a bold strategy call, pitting on that first caution, really paid off in a big way so far.
It really has. Got himself up 22 spots into 5th. A great strategy move. Got him in the fight here, and hey, you know what? It would not surprise me to see this thing go green for a long period of time, possibly to the end. And if that were to happen, Friley would have got himself a top 5 off a single early race pit stop. Wouldn't that be an impressive run in the Cooler Crew car?
It certainly would be, but I'll tell you what, he's far from out of the park. He's going to have to keep that pace up if he wants to have a run like that. Up front, though, Edwards continues to lead. Here we go, battle for 15th. Pryor goes to the inside of Colgan. He's going to take that spot away from Colgan. Looking up front, seeing if we have any more battles. That's about the best battle on track right now. No real other ones. So Pryor to the inside. He takes the spot away from Colgan now. Now Gilliott's looking to the inside, looking to take another spot away. Next spot Pryor will set his sights on will be his teammate Kieran Lifflander, running in 14th right now, making his first career start in the number 46 car. In front of him is the 3 car of Matt Baer, and then the 63 of Joe Campbell, as we have a hodgepodge of cars up here. And Matt Baer is starting to look a little aggressive here. Joe Campbell seeing if he can't figure out some sort of move on that 63 car. Just looking back through these cars, though, Austin Edwards continues to lead. He not really catching these lap cars much. These lap cars, I think, are running real hard right now, just trying to stay on the lead lap. And I feel like Crapser, Austin, and Noah are probably just saving some gas here. I don't think these guys are really pressing the issue as hard as they could be, as we're just past lap 100 at lap 102. So we are closing in quickly on a third of the way into this 325 lap affair, and an untimely caution has really thrown a wrench into things.
Yeah, a big wrench. And if you're in that top 5 right now, and especially if you're that front 3 that's just really close together, you don't even care. As long as you keep the car out of trouble, that's really all that's mattering to these top 3. And the top 3 are nose to tail. Now, if you're Alex Crapser currently sitting in 2nd place, you have another thing to be concerned about is you don't want to get up here and try and lap Matt Baer up in 12th in that 3 car, because as we heard, Matt's not given the benefit of the doubt. He is still angry. And, they get side by side, no telling what could happen. Matt could suddenly get loose.
Yeah, if I was Alex Crapster, I mean, I do give Crapster the benefit of the doubt. I've raced with him for over a decade on iRacing. He's been nothing but clean. I think he just made a once in every 10 years mistake on the last lap of that Rockingham race. However, Matt Baer isn't me. He's not going to give Crapster the benefit of the doubt. And, for Crapster, unfortunately, that's going to be something he's going to have to think about all race long here, is just pretty much, if he's near Matt Baer at any point in this race, especially with Crapser running really well tonight, he's going to have to be careful. Matt Baer is not going to let him get anything easy. I mean, I don't think Matt Baer, as much as Matt Baer talks, I don't think he's the kind of guy that's just going to go out there and absolutely murder Crapser, but he will go out there and make life miserable for Crapser.
I think he'll rattle his cage repeatedly. He won't go out and just ram him into a wall, but I do think we'll see the Matt Baer use the bumper, give him a little rattle his cage, and whatever happens from there. There's a car right behind Carpenter that just smacked the wall. I think that was the 69 of Bronson coming off the turn.
Yeah, and he's just, this is classic Bronson right here, Doug. The pit fuel thing, that was one thing, but then he made the mistake in the pits that trapped him down one more lap than he needed to, and now he's overdriving the car trying to make up for it. And circles. I mean, that's all fine and dandy, but sometimes you need to do a little calculating, and just, 3 years into his XCAL career, still have not yet to see a bunch of that.
Definitely not. And as they go around doing those circles, don't go anywhere. We'll go side by side and take a quick break. Stay with us.
Welcome back live here from Five Flag Speedway. PJ Zeller, Doug Burns up in the broadcast booth for the XCAL Racing Web Shop 325. And everyone here watching tonight, I want you to talk to us right now in the comment section, wherever you're watching, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch. Let me know, my friend, who are you cheering for? Let's have a party in those comments right now. Let's get some engagement. What driver are you cheering on? And if you're not cheering on a driver, just tell me your favorite number then, and that can be your driver tonight. Congratulations, I just hooked you up with a new favorite driver. Speaking of some guys' favorite drivers, Kendrick Pryor, after restarting 17th on the verge of going 2 laps down, he's now up to 12th, and he is quickly closing on a lucky dog spot as he continues to cut his way up through this field right now. Pryor on a tear right now as he goes up through the field. 3 cars sitting 1 lap down: Zach Edwards, Adam Juliet, and Ryan Seams. Those are the first 3 cars 1 lap down. Just sitting on the outside of that are Kyle Bartles, Jimmy Johnson, Stephen Rex, and Kendrick Pryor, as we are 120 laps into this 325 lap affair.
I'm really surprised Seams is not just charging around here. We saw how fast he was, and I guarantee you, close to his next pit stop, he's going to come flying by, as he's stuck right now behind the 25 car. I think Seams has a lot more in that car based on what we saw in that first run, so we'll see how it goes, but I don't think Seams is out of this yet. Adam Gillian, you might want to watch out, buddy.
Certainly. Up front, though, it's getting interesting, Doug. Jonathan Bronson has passed everyone up to Austin Edwards, and he's closing on Austin's bumper right now. He wants to take back one of those 2 laps that he's down. If he gets by Austin, he's only 1 lap down. For Bronson, though, he has his work cut out for him, because it almost seems like Austin's turned up the pace. Ever since Bronson has gotten right behind Edwards, Austin has started to pick up the pace a little bit, and it's almost, I think he understands what's going on here, and he doesn't want to so easily give back Bronson one of these laps after seeing how fast Bronson was earlier.
Well, Austin is out there playing 3D chess every week. We saw it last season. That's how he dominated the title race. He knows how to play the strategy. His team is communicating really, really well, and he knows, okay, I've got to do this, and this is one of those drivers that has to stay behind me as long as possible so that he is not up here challenging me. I think Austin probably has turned it up here, but I don't know. Bronson looks like he's just got something more tonight.
Yeah, and Austin is pulling a little bit on Bronson right now. Bronson caught him, and now Austin's pulling back away. He continues to pull a little bit of a gap, and he's just not making life easy on Bronson right now. Bronson desperately wants that 1 lap back, because if another caution were to drop right now, Bronson would be in real bad shape. He needs to get that lap back from Austin, but Austin just not letting him have his way here. So, moving forward here, looking up through the field, continuing to track the battle for the lucky dog spot is still Zach Edwards, Adam Juliet, Ryan Seams. Ryan Seams closely followed by Kyle Bartles, Jimmy Johnson, Stephen Rex, and now Kendrick Pryor continues to close in on those guys. Just keeping note of all these things. We had that one caution right in the middle of the pit cycle that kind of shook things up here, and things are getting a little crazy now. But as we run your top 5, Austin Edwards, Alex Krapser, Noah Carpenter, Parker Retzlaff, and John Friley rounding out your top 5. Once again, John Friley having a heck of a run for Fast Lane Racing here.
John Friley actually on pit road right now as we take a look from the XCAL blimp at Five Flags, and you can see down in turn 3 just how dark it is. When you drive down that back straightaway, there's not a lot of light on the back straightaway. And down into turn 3, you can really tell it gets darker down there, and at times it can make things a little bit tricky. So these guys have to be extremely careful, especially since on corner entry into turn 3, you're having to get down and get ready for your pit road entry. Pit road entry and exit here is a bit tricky.
Yes, sir. And we are looking up front right now is Doug, can I communicate with you on a private mic? Alright, we're back here live. Sorry, I was just checking to make sure with Doug that my mic levels were okay. I saw something pop up on my screen that made it look like my mic levels were not okay, but they are okay, so we're back here live. Sorry about that technical difficulty, my friend, but Doug, it wouldn't be a broadcast without some sort of technical difficulty at some point.
This is definitely true. Looks like Fried Rice said he is cheering for all of Moonlight, boy. just said that boy part right. I'm a little bit old to be Purple Saints.
He might be. But we got Austin Edwards out in front. Still, Bronson just cannot get to him. He is not letting Bronson get that lap back. Looks like, here we go, we have a battle going on. Ryan Seams, he just took away a spot from Zach Edwards, and now Zach Edwards, he just got passed by Jimmy Johnson. That's for the last wave round spot. So Jimmy Johnson now moves into that last wave round spot as things start to get a little dicey up here. And now here comes Cryer. Cryer has made his way through these cars. He passed Steven Rex, he passed Kyle Bartles, and now he's working up to the bumper of Zach Edwards here. And if he gets by Edwards, he'll be one spot away from the wave round spot, and he does get by Edwards. Edwards has issues, and now Cryer up to the 8th position, just one spot away from the wave round spot. So our pole setter, if he can get one more spot here, he is going to be sitting good once again.
You know, I'm just looking at the lap times, and I mean, we've got about a half-second fall off over the course of a run for those tires, but Ryan Seams, man, as everybody else is falling off, he just is not falling off as much. He cranks it up here late in the run. He's quite a bit fast. Jim Johnson shoots underneath of it. As soon as I said something, Ryan just goes up the track in 1 and 2, and now he's going to get past. He's going to be out of the lucky dog spot.
Yeah, he's still trying to fight back on that outside, but I just don't think he's going to be able to do much up there, and he can't. Now Steven Rex gets to his inside, and now the 3-wave round cars, Adam Gilliott, Jimmy Johnson, Kendrick Cryer. So Cryer into that last wave round spot if a caution were to fly right. So things continuing to get very interesting here with the Five Flag Speedway. Up front, though, things about the same as they've been. Austin Edwards has about a half-second lead over Alex Krapser. Noah Carpenter right on Krapser's bumper in 3rd. Then Parker Retzlaff sits behind in a distant 4th place right now. Adam Gilliott, the last car in the top 5. The first car in a lucky dog spot, 1 lap down is Gilliott if a caution were to fly. As I'm sure a lot of these guys are really hoping we see a caution fly at some point in this thing. As Zach Edwards is dropping like a rock right now. I don't know what's going on with that car, but he's running like a 1.5 seconds off the pace right now. I don't know if he's aggressively saving gas, which is probably what he's doing, but he is falling way off the pace right now, has Edwards after being in the wave round spot.
Yeah, something is definitely off. We talked about Edwards was blinking earlier on. I'm not sure what's going on with Zach all of a sudden. I can't imagine him being back there trying to save so much fuel that he suddenly drops 5 spots.
Yeah, it'd be a head scratcher for sure, but you can't deny that he has been losing some spots here, so we'll continue to monitor the situation with him. Looking through the field, just trying to find a battle right now. There's not much doing. I want to talk about Adam Gilliott, though. He's having a good run right now. Up in the 5th position, he's kind of put a little bit of a gap on the rest of the guys battling for the lucky dog spot. Gilliott races on the Stimulus Racing team, and, you know, it's him, his brother, and his dad. His brother Jeremy is running 11th right now, and actually his dad, I believe Adam told me he was out of town for work. I'm pretty sure he said he was out of town for work, or something along those lines. So their father Scott not able to race tonight. Colin Lawrence running that 21 car, making his debut in XCAL Racing. You know, this is all a family-done effort. You know, they aren't affiliated with a big shop. They aren't affiliated with a big team. The Gilliotts built these cars on their own, and they've had really good speed so far. I forget, it's either Adam or Gilliott. One of those two is up there in the top 3 in points right now, 4 races into the season. And Adam's showing a great bit of speed here right now. And, you know, for a team that small, when you're talking about, you know, the Moonlight guys and all their affiliates, they probably have 10, 15 guys working on the setups. The JNS/RKM guys with all their affiliates, you know, they have 10, 15 guys working on those setups. The Gilliotts, it's just father and his 2 sons working on those cars, and they have went punch for punch with the big guys so far this season.
Yeah, they really have. And we've seen in multiple races where both Adam and Jeremy just come charging up through the field. They have had some really impressive runs, and obviously Scott, week in and week out, has been seeing massive improvement.
So good run for Adam. Looks like pit stops are underway. Matt Bear came down in the pits. I just saw him leaving, so Bear gets off of pit road. He was one of the first cars to come down. This is a little early in the window here. I know he must not have a full tank gas. Well, here comes Adam Gilliott now from 5th position. He comes down pit road. And there's complaints right now from race control about a blinker. It's the 04 of Sean Andrews. He's having problems right now. We'll continue to monitor that. But now the 3 waiver round cars as Julia pits their Johnson, Pryor, and Rex. So those 3 cars have moved in. First car out's Ryan Seams. Ryan Seams right on Steven Rex's bumper for that last wave round spot. Good racing going on here right now. Jonathan Bronson still has yet to make his way by Austin Edwards. And actually, he's gotten gapped now. Austin Edwards is gone. He has no chance to even get by Edwards. Here goes Edwards now as he continues to lap more cars. He puts Kieran Lifflander a lap down as Lifflander just goes high and gets out of the way. He's going to slide back in the line now, and Lifflander is going to go a lap down, 2 laps down now in his XCAL debut as he runs in 14th. So only 13 cars within the first lap of the leader as here we go. Kieran Lifflander will come down in the pit, so it looks like the pit window is open now as we have some guys coming down.
Yeah, it looks like we've got Flying Ryan on pit road. Quite a few came down under that last lap. Kyle Bartles, Jeremy Gilliott, Kieran, Brent Mekas, Gerald Poole. Looks like Daniel Miller is on. Daniel's been on pit road. But several cars come down this time, and I would expect the next few laps we're going to see a lot of activity on pit road. But the thing to watch is pit road entrance and exit, because we've seen these guys have to dive off the track. There's not a wide apron as you go onto pit road, and there's definitely not a wide apron coming off pit road. If there's side-by-side racing coming off turn 2 and somebody's coming off pit road, things can get very, very small, very, very tight, very, very quickly.
Steven Rex comes into the pits now from 7th position, so another one comes down now, and more cars continuing to find their ways into the pits here as everyone coming down in the Five Flags pit road. And yeah, Doug, this is a treacherous pit road to come down into, and I can tell you, Doug, last year in this XCAL race, first half of the race, I was having one of my better runs of the early part of the season, ran top 5 all race, and I came down into the pits on the green flag pit stop. I overshot the entry, and I went head on into the pit wall, cracking my engine block. And a top 5 run like that was over. So this is a very treacherous pit to enter, but don't forget, it can happen to the best of the best. Last week, Austin Edwards, XCAL's all-time leading winner, he did the same thing at USA. He drove straight into the pit wall trying to get too hot into the pits at USA. Also, a 2-time XCAL feature winner, Mason Foster, he did that too. He drove straight into the pit wall, kind of ending his race. So it was treacherous at USA, but this track, it's a very treacherous pit entrance. Like you said, it's very narrow, it's very thin, and there's no real access road. You just have to go from race pace down to pit speed into a narrow entry quickly. If you're not on your game, it can get you.
Yeah, as we saw last week, and USA is a little bit more forgiving than this place is as far as apron size. So these guys, it's a little bit more treacherous here as Austin Edwards goes by Zach Edwards, not related, but yeah, an interesting note is Parker Retzlaff has been hanging out about 2.5 or less seconds. He's been about 2 to 2.5 seconds, and we've talked about it during the commercials. And we think he may not have the speed here. He may be saving and playing the strategy game here. And you know what? A guy as experienced in the real world as that, he definitely knows he can save it. But there's a couple other guys like Austin Edwards that definitely know how to play the game in XCAL.
No doubt about it, as Edwards continues to lead. 4 cars still in the lead lap. All 4 of those guys have yet to pit. Pretty much everyone has come down to the pits now, except for the top 5 runners right now. So top 5 still have yet to pit. We're going to monitor when they come down. And Doug, we don't know the pit window of the top 5 guys because that caution came out before they had to make green flag pit stops that first run. So we really don't know how long they could have went if they were going to keep going.
No, we really don't. They all came in around lap 83 to 85. Right in that window under caution. They were still under green flag conditions and they had not used all of their fuel. None of them ran out. So we don't know if these guys can make it 80 laps. We heard most people say 70 to 80 laps here tonight, but could a guy like Austin Edwards could easily stretch it, and you got Parker Retzlaff sitting back there, not at full chat, obviously, could be saving fuel. Noah Carpenter, we've seen him do some amazing fuel saving in the past, and hey, he wants to stay up here and get a good finish so he doesn't have to do the dishes tonight.
Yeah, he's trying his best to earn that job of not doing the dishes. Austin Edwards is still up front leading this thing. Alex Crapser in second, Noah Carpenter third, Parker Retzlaff fourth. Zach Edwards is in the pits now in fifth. He comes down, so it's just the top four are still out there running. Edwards showing the way around the speedway, passes the pits once again. He does not come down, so they continue to put some laps down here. As it's been about now 83-ish laps since they've been in the pits, so that's about as long as they went that first run here. Let's see if they're going to come down this time. Looks like Edwards will not. He drives by the pits once again. Crapser does not. Carpenter does not. And Retzlaff does not. So all four of those guys still out there right now. So I imagine they're probably getting really close to the edge of that pit window now. But up in front, it is Austin Edwards showing the way. As once again down in 3 and 4 this time. Well, he might come down, but he didn't. He's still out there. They're all still out there.
Yeah, these guys.
Retzlaff comes down, so the guy we thought was saving the most actually saved the least as he comes down first.
That's a big shocker. I'm not surprised that Austin is out there longer, but I am surprised to see Parker down. I really thought we'd see him stretch much, much further, but, you know, this is a moment that one of these guys could potentially stay out here. If the caution comes out, they wanted to stretch as far as they could. They saw what happened with that first one. They definitely did not want to get caught themselves, and they're hoping for another miracle here.
They certainly are. As right now, still Edwards out there. This is a long, long field run for him. Top 3, only 3 out on the racetrack. First car that has pitted is John Friley, as he's in 5th. Probably is going to take over 4th from Retzlaff next time by. And no, he won't. Retzlaff will hang on to that position as he gets out of the pits right now. But Edwards still yet to come down. Crapser does come down this time. Noah Carpenter still out there, so we're down to the last 2 men standing out there.
Hey, and while we're under these pit stops, it might be a good time to do our new mid-race segment there. Do you want to do the honors of the mid-race interview?
Yeah, who is our mid-race interview, Doug?
Tonight it is Danielle Sargent of JNS Racing, the JNS Racing conglomerate, and then...
All right, Doug, I'm actually going to use this as an opportunity to run to the boys' room, and I'll let you take this one because nature calls.
All right. Hey, Danielle, it's Doug in the booth. You got me? Hey, Danielle, it's Doug in the booth. You got me? We'll give her a minute to get back up in here. 2 cars left on the lead lap as Alex Crapser now completes his pit stop. Austin Edwards, Noah Carpenter just waiting for them to complete their stop. Oh, Danielle is back. How is it going tonight, Danielle?
It's going good, watching the race.
So how are you feeling about your team here tonight, first off?
I think they're doing pretty good. We got a good set this week, so we'll see what happens.
And you did have the winning car last night, and last week, and one of the teams that may be looking the most, one of the strongest looking teams this season.
That was the plan when we built the Racing Aces, was to put the best drivers all together.
Well, it definitely got the job done. Now, knowing that those top 4, the best of the best are in that group, do they work together on the strategy? Do they work together on fuel and setup, or is each of them doing their own thing?
For the most part, they all work together, JNS Racing and JNS Racing.
That's got to be awesome for the other teams. They're getting a lot of practice and experience from these guys that are some of the best of the best. Oh my God, Parker's around. Danielle, we'll get back to you in just a moment. Give me just a second.
Okay.
All right, Parker Retzlaff just got turned off the nose of the Mad Bear.
Wow. Yeah, Doug, I got back just as that happened, and let's see what happened. There's Retzlaff still up against the wall, and it looks like Retzlaff just drove straight across Matt Bear's nose, and, I mean, he just kind of wrecked himself there, Doug.
Yeah, more or less. I was looking to see if Matt was you know, we know Matt came in here fuming a little bit today, but he was fuming against Crapser. This is one of Danielle's drivers. You want to pull her in and ask her what she thinks?
Yeah, Doug, I got you. All right, you should have radio connections again with Danielle, Doug.
Danielle, obviously an incident there on track with one of your drivers. So what are your thoughts now?
I'm not sure. I walked out of the room to talk, and this is what happened.
Looked like Parker just came across the nose on the Mad Bear this evening, as they were coming off turn 4 and heading up the track, and it turned him around. He's actually looking to see if he's gotten going again, because he was parked against the wall for quite some time. He is rolling again, but now will be the first car one lap down, it looks like. A bit different, as here comes Parker down pit road. Matt Bear also on pit road right behind him. And wow, this is a big change to tonight. I have to ask, what was Parker saying in pre-race? Because we were not seeing the same speed out of him tonight that we have seen the first 3 weeks.
I'm not sure what's going on.
Well, what is your prediction both for this race and for the remainder of the Aces season?
I think they're definitely compatible for the championship this season.
I would have to agree with the team you have put together. That's it's kind of hard to beat some of the drivers you've got out there this season. Danielle, I will wish you good luck. Let you go sort out what's going on with your drivers, and good luck tonight. Obviously, Parker dropping back a little bit, but still in the top 5, still having a great run tonight.
Yeah.
All right, that was Danielle Sargent, and Petey, wow, what a turn of events.
Yeah, no, that'll change things as Parker Retzlaff. We'll see. So the penalty on it was Matt Bear was black flagged. That's kind of surprising because, I mean, Retzlaff just drove completely across his nose there. I don't agree with that call from race control. I don't know what angle they were looking at it from, but it wasn't a straight on one there. But Parker Retzlaff with some right front damage nonetheless, and Matt Bear will have to come serve a black flag.
I'm willing to bet Matt is a little bit angry right now. He came into this race angry, obviously, and that's not going to help matters at all.
Not at all. And hold up, Doug. I'm going to see if we can get him for an interview real quick.
I want to plug the kids' ears on this one. While they pace around, Austin Edwards still in the lead and the only driver currently on the lead lap.
All right, so from what I took from Matt Bear is that I don't think he wants up the interview. What he told me to say for him is not something I'm going to repeat.
Yeah,
so we're back underway. Austin Edwards lapped the field. Remember, he was the only driver that hadn't pit yet. He has a lap advantage on the field now. And we are looking at about 140-ish laps to go here. So for Austin Edwards, that's probably about one more pit stop, Doug. If this thing goes green to the end, this might be another Austin Edwards clinic like we've seen so many times over the last 2 years.
Definitely so. And, you know, while Austin is out front, let's just go through the full field rundown here from Five Flags. Austin Edwards out front, dominant so far with a full lap ahead. Noah Carpenter in second place, having a great run again tonight. Alex Crapser in third, trying to stay away from the Mad Bear. Parker Retzlaff currently running in fourth place despite the incident. That might speak to how fast that J&S Flying Aces team is.
Hold up. Bear is behind Retzlaff right now. He hasn't come and served his black flag yet. And he is getting into the bumper of Retzlaff. He gets into his back bumper. He tries to turn him around. He gets him loose up the racetrack. Bear is not having it right now. Matt Bear behind Retzlaff. He doesn't come down to serve the black flag yet again. Still behind Parker Retzlaff right now. Does he get into Retzlaff? Here we go down into turn 1, and Bear gets a little bit loose, and Retzlaff turned up the speed there a little bit. I think he understood if he didn't get moving there, he was probably about to get wrecked, because Matt Bear, angry about the black flag, angry that Retzlaff drove across his nose, and I think Bear's equally angry at race control right now, but unfortunately Bear can't wreck race control, but he can wreck Retzlaff, which is what he's trying to do as he gets into his back bumper, moves him up the racetrack. Here we go down into turn 3. Does Bear get into him again? Bear down to the inside of the speedway. Retzlaff, he just gets out of the way. Retzlaff says, better you than me, buddy. As Bear gets loose, swings onto it. Oh my goodness. And Bear now to the inside of Retzlaff. He moves up the racetrack. He is just playing games with Parker Retzlaff right now. Retzlaff, the NASCAR Xfinity Series driver right now, is getting a handful from the Mad Bear.
You know how Matt is when he loses his temper. I mean, I think we all do. But wow, that was a bit more than I expected. I'm surprised race control hasn't stepped in there yet. But you know what, Matt? Great job by Matt in one aspect. He did not put him in the wall. He did not ruin his night. He just kept giving it a little love tap and making him work for it.
Yeah, and the Mad Bear is going to live to fight another day, as will Parker Retzlaff. Matthew Bear all the way back in 21st right now. His race is in shambles pretty much. I mean, compared to what he was hoping to have today, it's not in good shape. Let's go through a top 10 rundown. Only one car on the lead lap. Austin Edwards caught the caution flag in the middle of the fuel window, and he was the only car still on the racetrack. He has a one-lap lead over Noah Carpenter and Alex Krapser. 2 laps down in 4th is the pole sitter Kendrick Pryor. Parker Retzlaff's in 5th. 6th is Kyle Bartles. 7th is Jimmy Johnson. 8th is Steven Rex. 9th is Jonathan Bronson, 3 laps down. And rounding out your top 10 is Joe Campbell, also 3 laps down.
Yeah, you got to give it to Joe. I mean, last season, Joe started the season with a win. As things get a little exciting right in front of him, Joe started the season last season with a win. Has not had that win yet this season. However, the team is much stronger and more consistent. As we've seen, we have seen JNS put their entire team in the top 15 so far once this season. So I think JNS is going to be very, very hard to beat. And JNS is the whole conglomeration, not just. But the Flying Aces is definitely the top of the leaderboard with that group.
Here we go right now. Jonathan Bronson actually just took one of his laps back from Austin Edwards, and now he's only 2 laps down. He's on the bumper of Steven Rex right now, and this is important because if he gets back to the first car 2 laps down, that currently is a lucky dog spot because 4th place Kendrick Pryor is 2 laps down. So if Bronson goes to the inside of Steven Rex, he will pick up the 8th position. Now he'll set his sights on Jimmy Johnson, who's not too far ahead of him right now, and Kyle Bartles also up there along with Parker Retzlaff and Kendrick Pryor. So Bronson, he's not too far out of this thing. I mean, he's a few caution flags away from really getting interesting here. Let's go through the rest of the field. I think the top 10. In 11th, John Fraley having a really good run tonight. 12th, Jeremy Gilliott. 13th, Robert Colgan. 14th, Kieran Lifflander doing a great job in his debut. 15th, Stephen Wetton having a good run. 16th will be Ryan Seams, probably disappointing with the way he looked early, but fighting back in this one. 17th, Albert Hewins. 18th, Brett Mekes. 19th, Sean Patrick. And 20th, Adam Gilliott. 21st, Matthew Bear. 22nd, Jerry Poole. 23rd, XCAL's Ironman, Derek Colson. 24th, Zach Edwards having a disappointing run. 25th will be Edmund Jones. 26th will be Colin Lawrence. 27th will be Jose Gaudino. 28th, Sean Andrews. 29th, Daniel Miller. 30th, Rusty Greer. 31st, Danny Mann, and rounding out the field in last will be Art Hendren right now. As right now, it continues to, a whole lot doing on the racetrack. Probably the most interesting thing to watch right now is about the battle for 5th. Kyle Bartles right now working on the bumper of Parker Retzlaff. And this is what makes XCAL so great, where a NASCAR Xfinity Series driver can actually be passed by a unknown sim racer like Kyle Bartles, who's known in XCAL. He's been a consistent driver for years in this league, but with a 3,000 I rating, this is probably a guy that Parker Retzlaff never heard of before XCAL, and right now he's being dogged by Kyle Bartles.
Yeah, and just looking down from the XCAL blimp, you can see how close this pack really is right now. I mean, they're stretching across half the track. It's 30 some odd cars still on track, and they are not spread out across the whole half-mile track. They are tight. So they're all within about a quarter mile of each other, depending, and it's just coming down to which lap they're on, who they're battling, and there's a mix of battles going on everywhere, even if it's just somebody trying to make their way back toward the front. Somebody like Kendrick Cryer, who has really fought back after getting caught behind for a little bit. He is now all the way back up into fourth, sitting in the lucky dog position.
Yeah, Pryor doing a good job right now. Like I said, started on pole, kind of got unlucky there with the strategy, but doing a good job now in fourth, or he's 2 laps down rather, but once again, the whole field's kind of just trapped a lap down right now. And we're in a position with this race, Doug, where if one of these two things doesn't happen, if there's not a caution or Austin Edwards doesn't get wrecked, Austin Edwards is going to win this race. It's plain and simple as that right now. He has a lap and a half lead on everyone right now. He's running just a fast pace right now. It's about the same pace as Crapser and Carpenter. And I mean, unless he gets wrecked or there's a couple cautions in this race, Austin Edwards has this one right now kind of in the palm of his hand. So Edwards doing a fine job out front right now, just trying to look for any battles. So actually, Retzlaff has dropped back. He has lost a few spots. Bartles is up to 5th. Bronson got by Jimmy Johnson. He got by Retzlaff. Bronson's up to 6th again. Great run for Bronson right now. Jimmy Johnson 7th. Parker Retzlaff 8th. Joe Campbell 9th. And Steven Rex currently rounds out your top 10 drivers right now. But got to look at Bronson right now. He's the guy on the move, and he has gotten to the bumper of Kyle Bartles. This is for the 5th spot right now. And if he gets by Bartles, Kendrick Pryor is not that far ahead for the last wave around spot. Jonathan Bronson, after looking dead to rights in this race after making a foolish mistake by coming into the pits under that second caution, he's kind of clawed his way back into it as he's trying to find a way under his teammate Bartles, and Bartles goes low. He just lets Bronson has it. He lays down, he gives it to his teammate. Bronson up to 5th. He sets his sights on Pryor for the wave around.
I think right now Bronson is a bit faster. Bartles doesn't want to fight his teammate too terribly hard, and he can stay on his bumper, maybe learn something from it. Speaking of bumpers, you know what? Let's tune into Kyle Bartles' nose cam as he goes down the back straightaway, and what a view you have here from it as they go downhill, and you can see how what Five Flags is like as you come out of turn 4, up the hill, into the lights, into turn 1. Off into turn 1, and it starts getting darker and darker down the back straightaway, not nearly as much light, and turn 3 from the distance is dark and can get a little bit interesting through there at times.
Yeah, certainly a unique racetrack, I talked with some of the drivers before this race, and they all kind of said the same thing. This was a really technical track. This track favors the technical driver, and as you just saw with Doug showing how this goes uphill, downhill, both corners have different banking, both corners have different ways you have to approach them, and it's really a unique place to drive for these guys. So looking right now, Kendrick Pryor, he's entering turn 3. Jonathan Bronson, he is also entering turn 3. So he is not that far behind. Exiting turn 4 is Pryor. Now here comes Bronson. Bronson may be about a second behind Kendrick Pryor. Sitting between them is the lap car of Robert Colgan, who sits in 13th right now. Bronson, though, you might not think the battle for 4th is a big deal. Well, this is the battle for the transfer spot. Doug, these two guys, Pryor and Bronson, they're teammates and officials. They both race for Moonlight Speed Concepts. They work on their setups together. But when they're on the track, Doug, I've seen those two wreck each other more than enemies. I mean, they go out there and those two don't give each other a single inch when they race. Bronson and Pryor, they work on the setups together. They're teammates. But when they're on the track, it's never team orders between those two. I have watched Bronson and Pryor wreck each other and let somebody else win because they got too focused on racing with each other. They're both the same age, Doug, 16. They both have raced big super late models in real life. They're both cocky young kids, and even though they're the best of friends off the track and they work on setups together, on the track, you can tell that they want to be better than the other one so bad, and they don't care how they have to do it. Those two would gladly wreck each other to beat the other one and let someone else win the race any day of the week.
Yeah, that is definitely the case, and both of them extremely aggressive, although Bronson has the tendency to be a lot more patient than Cryer does at times. So Cryer has shown a lot of maturity though this year. He's still just as fast as he ever was, but he's really started to show some maturity and kind of being a little bit more patient, driving a little bit smarter than what we've seen in the past. He's been doing an amazing job. I think he's going to be tough to beat. But another couple of cars we need to keep a close eye on throughout this race, especially at this point. Looking at 20th place Matt Bear right in front of him and keeping a close eye as he comes out of, looks like turn 2. Then looking, Alex Crapster is about a half a lap away, so he should be safe. And Parker might also want to stay away from him for a little bit as well.
I probably would if I was him. And just one more thing to follow up on that whole Cryer Bronson thing. I want to say, they're on Moonlight, obviously. I'm a coach on that team and a builder, so I hang out with those guys quite a bit. And I was watching them. They raced an official street stock race at Irwindale the other night, and it was them two and Chris Johnson, another XCAL driver, racing for the win. And they were racing so aggressive. They were beating doors, banging. In the last corner, Cryer had the inside, and Bronson was on the outside. Bronson went wide in the corner to try to cross over Kendrick. Whenever he went to set off the crossover, you know what Cryer did? He slammed on the brakes, brake checked Bronson, got Bronson sideways, and Cryer went on to win. And that's just what I'm talking about with those two. Even though it's just a battle for fourth right now, when it's them two against each other, I mean, it's all gloves are off. You know, they will use every trick in the book, no matter how dirty it is.
Well, while they are turning the laps here, Austin Edwards continues to lead. We're going to take a quick commercial break. Don't go anywhere. We'll go side by side.
Back live here and under caution from Five Flags Speedway, and Stephen Wetton has gone around on the front stretch to bring out the yellows. He was parked in the middle of the front straightaway, and he's got that car back going, but looks like something happened out turn 4 between him and the other Stephen Rex.
Looks like Wetton just drifted up the track a little bit. Very similar to, wow. Yeah, great save by Stephen Rex to avoid him there, but looked like Stephen Wetton just got a little loose, maybe a little bit push loose, moves up the track in a four-wheel drift and gets into it.
Doug, can we get an in-car with Kieran Lifflander there? I don't know how he missed that wreck. I mean, he was inches away from destroying Wetton there.
Seeing if we can dial up his in-car. Here we go. This could be scary. Down out of turn 3 and 4, there is the holy cow! Wow, you saw the nosedive under braking, but great save by Kieran. He had to have missed that by less than inches.
It was so close, and he had Edmund Jones to his inside. He had another car to his outside. He was in a box, and he made the only move he could do to miss that race. And as his car owner, I appreciate you, Kieran, not junking one of my race cars there, but I couldn't have really been mad at you if you did, because that was a hard one to miss right there. My goodness. But yeah, we are under caution. Reading the YouTube comments, I see Mark Carpenter, Noah Carpenter's dad. He says, is it just me, or are there more lights on the infield of this track than the actual track? And you know, Mark, I think you're right. This is a weirdly lit track, and it's always kind of been that way. Up against the wall, it's very dark here. It's kind of dark all around the track compared to a lot of places. That infield they have bright as all heck.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting. I love racing at this track, and obviously I really love racing North Wilkesboro. But Wilkesboro doesn't have lights currently. This one does, but it is just so weirdly lit. And depending on what you're racing here, things can the lighting can mess with your view. I would imagine if I play, I think the longest race I've ever done here was like an hour. I cannot imagine what the lighting here does to you over the course of 2 or 3 hour race, probably going to end up with a headache and make it really hard to focus.
So, Doug, we have 90 laps to go in this race. Do any of these guys make it on gas? What was the longest fuel run here, like around 90 laps?
I think Austin actually made it right at 90. I don't know with the pace laps here. Let's see.
He's going to have to go a little longer than 90, but it's going to be close. But, I mean, if anyone's going to make it, it's going to be that kid, I'll tell you what.
He's idling. He is not... Oh, he's clutching. He is saving fuel on pace laps. I think he's going to go for it from here.
I don't disagree with you, and if he does come down, it'll literally just be an immediate splash and go. But yeah, he is he's idling that car right now. Now, Crapster is going to come through, Carpenter is going to come through. They're going to be on the lead lap. They're going to be second and third. They're going to be starting at the tail end of the pack. Kendrick Cryer now just one lap down. But here's the thing, Doug. Cryer is coming down in the pits right now. He's topping off of fuel of that car, so he is topping off on fuel, so he's going to have a little bit more fuel than everyone, and Cryer's going to see if he can make it to the end. But here we come off 3 and 4. I imagine we're going to get 1 to green this time by, and there's going to be 88 laps to go with the flag stand.
Yeah, I think several drivers can make it from here. Cryer was also getting right side tires. That'll give him just a few laps advantage there. But that few laps could make all the difference in the world here. Oh, and I do want to, as we get ready for the green, just want to give a shout out to the whole How to Suck at iRacing community. Dropped some family friends GoFundMe last night to help. They lost everything in their house due to a fire yesterday in the middle of an ice storm, and a lot of people have really stepped up. If you can help out, go check out that GoFundMe. It's on the Facebook page. Really appreciate all the help.
All right, so there's going to be 87 to go this time, or rather 88 laps to go. So this was 88. This was not 87, pardon me. So we're going to go green this time by with 87 laps to go. And Austin Edwards is going to have to probably try to make it under 87 green laps and I think about 5 or 6 caution laps. So in total, probably about 92, 93 lap run. It'd be the longest run of the night. Can Edwards do it to make it on gas? Remember, we haven't seen him come down under green yet. He's stretched it to every caution so far in this race. So if anyone can do it, it's him. Here we go. Green flag. Edwards gets a good jump. He has a legal start. Good job by Edwards there. And we're off to the races. It's Carpenter in second. Crapser in third right now. And those guys, I'll be curious to see if they try to pick up the pace to catch Austin, or if they're just going to be saving gas trying to play the game to make it to the end of the race here. And, we're right on the window where this thing is all about the strategy here at this one. But any more cautions in this race make this thing incredibly more interesting, because just 1 lap down, you have the pole sitter Kendrick Cryer in 4th place right now. 2 laps down in 5th place, you have Jeremy Gilliott, and in 6th place, 3 laps down, you have a battle between Jonathan Bronson and Parker Retzlaff. Here comes Bronson to the inside. Bronson gets to the inside of Retzlaff. That is for the last wave round spot. It goes to Bronson.
Retzlaff just moved over. He wasn't even challenging it. I don't know that car is 100% speed right now, 100% up to speed right now, but he's obviously got some right front damage. Arrow, not a huge deal at 5 flags, so I have to wonder if he's got and he got a bit of the apron there and got loose. Meanwhile, Bronson is just checking out. He's to the leader's bumper. Bronson's going to do this the hard way. Yep, he does. He shoots it to the bottom underneath the leader. Austin Edwards is not going to fight this too hard. We saw him try and hold Bronson back earlier. Can't do it this time. Now Austin has the lead, but Bronson just regained a lap.
Yeah, and Bronson's aggressive there. Now Retzlaff, he's going for a lap here. If you're Austin, you gotta save gas. This isn't a situation where you're gonna try to hold these guys off. Austin just lets them have. They're only 2 laps down now, but for Austin, that's perfectly fine. You're fine with those guys only being 2 laps down. It really doesn't mean a whole lot to you. Unless this thing gets really dirty here at the end, those guys aren't really a factor in this thing. And with the damage Retzlaff has, it doesn't really seem like he's a factor in this thing, period. So we're going to have to see how this continues to shake down. But Edwards has the lead, 1.4 seconds over last week's winner, Noah Carpenter. Carpenter, a 2-time XCAL winner. He won the Legends Oval last year, and he won with a pass for the lead with 5 to go over his teammate Alex Crapser. He won the race at USA last week. Austin Edwards, a 17-time XCAL winner. That's the all-time mark, and he's looking for number 18 tonight, which has been his car number for a majority of his wins, Doug.
Yeah, it has, and he has shown that he can get it done in that 18 car. Did hear him say he's not sure if he's running a full season this season, but I guarantee if he gets in last week after a bit of frustration, he was thinking about retirement already. However, I would say tonight's run majorly making up for everything that went wrong last week. So hopefully Austin will stay with us for a long time to come, because that definitely gives everybody else something to work up to, because he is one of the best of the best.
Yeah, he certainly is, and you love to watch that. And you know what's cool about Austin too is just last year I was on J&S Racing as a driver, and Austin was a bitter rival. EHP J&S, we had a bitter rivalry last season, and so I never really looked at Austin from a respectful competition. He was the enemy last year, but this year I've taken a step back, running part-time, doing some broadcasts with you, doing some development with my drivers, and it's allowed me, as the owner of Austin Edwards' car, to just watch the process he does, Doug. And I'll tell you what, on race day, like Tuesdays, he puts up a practice session. He probably turns 1,000 laps of practice, fine-tuning that car to exactly what he feels like he needs, handling-wise and fuel-wise. And I mean, people might just look at him and say, oh, Austin's lucky, or, Austin's just a really good driver. It's more than that. The brain on that kid is crazy, and he calculates these races by Austin. They're not won on Tuesday night. They're won Monday night and all day Tuesday when he's working on that car. And I mean, the results he get are a direct result of the effort he puts in. And, just getting to watch it firsthand this year, it's easy to understand why he's had the success he's had.
It definitely is. I saw a lot of that last year. Because I get to drop into a lot of these groups and talk to them throughout the week and watch their discussions in the Discord, so I know what's going on. As Ryan Seams is fighting to get a lap back here now. Flying Ryan back into 14th at the moment, but has started making his way up. He's much further back after an earlier incident, but he has not given up. That is one of the things that we have seen historically here. The guys that have speed are good. The guys that have speed that don't give up and find a way to make their way forward after an incident, after a problem, those are the ones that win races, win championships.
So here we go now. Jeremy Gilliott just announced he's coming to the pits, so he's 2 laps down, and he is coming down on the pit road this time by. Gilliott brings it down. So Gilliott from 5th pits. That'll move Jonathan Bronson up into 5th. And what that does is that puts Parker Retzlaff back into a way-brown spot, and he'll be in 6th. So it is Cryer 1 lap down. He'd get back on the lead lap if caution were to fly. Bronson 2 laps down will get back to 1 lap down, and Retzlaff also 2 laps down will get back to 1 lap down here, as they have put in some work and they're looking to get back on the lead lap. But the first car out of a way-brown spot, Joe Campbell having a good run tonight. He's going to be in 7th place, 2 laps down. 9th place will be Kyle Bartles, or 8th place will be Kyle Bartles. 9th place will be Robert Cogan having a really fine run tonight. And rounding out your top 10 will be Adam Gilliott, as he's in 10th after running good early, kind of got trapped behind the 8 ball in some strategy.
Yeah, it's really good to see that Gilliott team doing so well. For being the first year that they've really had a fully formed team, they've done really well. Adam now on pit road. But we've got a few of these drivers up towards the front now that are the guys we saw go 80-plus laps earlier on, and I think some of these guys are the ones that we're going to see really be able to make it to the end, because we are watching final pit stops for the entire field here.
And here we go. It's Edwards. Up front, Crapser's actually starting to track him down a little bit, but now Kendrick Cryer makes his way by Crapser, and Doug Cryer's just a second and a half behind his teammate Edwards, and he's trying to get his lap back. If he catches Austin and unlaps himself, what that would do, Doug, is if a caution came out, he would line up with the lead lap cars. So for Kendrick Cryer, this is absolutely instrumental right now. I don't think he's saving gas, Doug. I think Kendrick's playing poker right now. And, you know, sometimes you hold him, sometimes you fold him. Right now, Kendrick put all his chips in the middle of the table. He is all in. He's showing his hand, and his hand right now is he's either going to run this car out of fuel or the strategy is going to work out in his favor, and he's going to get a caution with about 20 to go. But Pryor, not saving gas, he is playing the game that he wants to get this thing back on the lead lap.
You know, and the other thing, these guys that are stretching the fuel mileage here, if we get a caution, most of them don't even need to come down pit road. They'll idle around, they'll clutch it, they'll kill the engine, but they will not have to come down pit road necessarily. So it's gonna be a close one out there all night long. Coming down to the end of this one, things are gonna get exciting.
Well, let us know in the comments, who do you think wins this one? Is it Austin Edwards? Oh, Kendrick Pryor comes down to the pits. I don't understand why he had to pit so early, Doug. He pit with like 1 to green. I'm confused. That car should have gas.
I think he does. I think he's short pitting. He knows he can take a full tank here, make it to the end. So might as well go for it. It must be worth the risk in the strategy he has playing out here.
Yeah, Doug, I'm not in his fire suit, but I gotta say, I don't think I agree with that call right there, because Austin and Crapser probably aren't pitting again. Carpenter, I don't think, is either, because he's saving like heck right now. And Kendrick, I don't know. You know what that tells me, though, Doug? Maybe Edwards does have to pit again, because I know they're in communications right now, so maybe Austin let him know, like, hey, I'm not going to make it. This is too long a run to make. I'm going to have to come down again. And maybe Kendrick Pryor's playing off that information. That's all speculation by me, but that's the only thing I could think, because I feel like Austin could probably make it from here. It'd be really close, but from what we saw earlier, it looks like this is within his window, or at least pretty close to it. So for Edwards, I'm going to be curious to how if he can make it or not. Pryor pitting there really does befuddle me a little bit, as he now gets back on the racetrack, and he's going to cycle through in 12th spot.
I think Austin can make it. I don't think there's any question in his mind that he can make it from here. So this will be really, really interesting to see the whole thing play out, because if a caution comes out, even we know Austin can go the distance. Anybody else that may be able to go the distance, if they stay out, they're going to recover quite a bit of space. But if Austin stays out, especially after Crapser and Carpenter hit pit road for the final time, guess what? He's just trapped everybody a lap or more down. He is cruising to the finish.
Yeah, and he has a 2-second lead. He's held it pretty consistently over Alex Crapser, who, by the way, Doug, let's just talk about the season of Alex Crapser so far, right? So, opening night in Charlotte, he got involved in an early wreck, the same one I got involved in. He was immediately out of contention, just like I was in Charlotte very early in the race. Fast forward to week 2. On his birthday at Rockingham, he had that race won, had an 8-second lead late in the race. A late caution comes out. Matt Baer comes into the pits, takes tires, and it looked like Matt Baer was about to beat him back to the start-finish line in a photo finish. However, Crapser just made a faulty move, a very rare faulty move for him, but it ended up taking out both him and Baer, and it allowed Kyle Martin to win the race. And then last week, leading the race again with 5 laps to go. However, his teammate Noah Carpenter had fresher tires. Carpenter tracked him down from about 3 seconds back. Carpenter passed him with 5 laps to go, and Carpenter went on to win the race. Well, same story, different dance this week, as we are here with about 50 laps to go from 5 flags. Crapser's running in second, a second and a half behind Austin Edwards. And you know, Doug, Austin Edwards, XCAL's all-time leading winner with 17 wins. Alex Crapser has the most career second-place finishes in the history of XCAL racing, and a lot of them have come to Austin Edwards. I mean, this has been a common finishing order in XCAL. Edwards, Crapser. Can Crapser change the history tonight and take one from Austin?
I don't know if he can do it or not, honestly. He's 1.3 seconds back. He's running him down. He has the best opportunity here, but I think looking at lap times and whatnot, I think Austin is in conservation mode right now. I think he's saving just a little bit extra right now. He is not pushing it. He's letting people get by. He's not fighting anybody. And we know how good Austin is at saving fuel over the long run. I think, I don't know, man. I know Crapser can get there. Can he get the win? That's another story.
It's two of the best in the business of saving fuel battling for right now. Crapser and Edwards, those probably are the two best in XCAL. Luke Turpin doesn't race full-time anymore, but if he still raced full-time, he would be right there with him. But as we're talking about guys who are still racing full-time, Austin Edwards, Alex Crapser, the two best in the business of this fuel strategy game. And Crapser is catching Austin right now. He has got it down to about a second this time by. It's down to 9/10 this time by. Crapser is catching Edwards, and I'm wondering if Crapser has more fuel in the tank and doesn't have to save as much because Edwards is quickly getting caught by Crapser here, and we'll see if he picks it up once Crapser gets to his bumper, but it's going to be awfully close here as this is a battle of fuel mileage, and it's between these two. This time by another 2/10. Crapser has it down to 7/10. Crapser is closing the gap greatly right now.
Yeah, and while we watch this play out, we'll take our final commercial break. Don't go anywhere. We'll go side by side.
We're back live here from Five Flags Speedway as we are in the middle of an epic fuel mileage race here to end this one. As I'm going to ignore driver chat or the fan chat for the rest of this one, apparently. But up front, it is Austin Edwards leading this one, but very closely behind, it's Alex Crapser. And here we go, Robert Colgan gets the inside of Edwards. Is that going to open up a gap here for Crapser? Colgan gets by. Will Crapser get to the inside? And oh no, Colgan holds Edwards up. This is going to be interesting. Crapser to the inside. Does he have the gap on Edwards? Edwards on the high side. He keeps his foot in the gas. Is he clear? He is not. Colgan holds him up. And now Edwards is going to have to follow in the line behind Alex Crapser. They are door to door, side by side. This time by the flag stand. 36 laps to go. Edwards going to fall in line behind Crapser and try to find a way around him.
Holy cow, what a turn of events here. Austin at one point had a 2-lap lead over the rest of the field. Crapser ran him down, got laps back, everything else, and man, Crapser, one heck of a run tonight. And that also allowing Noah Carpenter to gain a little time. Noah quite a bit behind, but he did manage to pick up a couple of seconds right through that period as well. And,
so here we go ahead.
Just saw in the comments that people are loving XCAL, and we're so happy.
Yup, we're going to leave it at that, as we are, racing here from Five Flags Speedway in Pensacola, Florida, and Crapser's pulling away. Crapser is pulling a gap on Edwards. Edwards, I think he just needs to save more gas than Crapser right now, and yeah, he is just getting gapped right now. I mean, there's really no other way to put it. He is getting absolutely gapped right now by Alex Crapser. As looking through the field right now, up in front, Crapser leads, Edwards second, Carpenter in third, fourth is Jonathan Bronson, and fifth is actually Joe Campbell now, as he's gotten around Parker Retzlaff, who falls back into the 6th position. 7th is Kyle Bartles, 8th is Kendrick Cryer, 9th is Ryan Seams, and 10th is the 10 car of Steven Rex, as that'll round out your top 10.
And what about Seams and Rex? Both of these drivers, I mean, Seams, we talked about earlier in the race, could have had the car to win this, but consistent top 10 finishes, we mentioned that repeatedly for Seams. He went back as far back as 20th as he's headed to pit road, and he worked his way back into the top 10.
Yeah, and we're having a good run here right now as I'm just looking throughout the field trying to find a battle. Not a whole lot in terms of side-by-side racing right now. Trying to find just one thing. Looks like Seams came down to the pits, as you mentioned here. Steven Rex still out on the track. We know Cryer's good to go on gas. He's trying to catch Kyle Bartles, who did just come down the pits. That's another spot there for Cryer. He's up to 7th. Retzlaff into the pits now. So everyone's starting to pit now here, as Joe Campbell's still out there. Bronson's still out there. And our Crapser and Edwards, are they good to go, Doug? This is not a certain thing. We're kind of treating it like it's a certain thing right now because they've done it so many times. But, you know, maybe Crapser's pushing it harder right now, Doug, because he just doesn't think there's any way he can make it. And maybe Austin is just trying really hard to make this work.
Well, let's take a couple of laps in Austin's car. And Austin is clutching it, especially down the back straightaway. Let's see how he does into 1 and 2. Yep, on the clutch very early into turn 1. Austin definitely knows he has to save some fuel, and he is going to stretch this. He is getting off the throttle very, very early. Now looking inside Crapser's car. And I don't think Crapser is saving a single drop here. No, he is staying in the throttle all the way around the track. So I think Crapser is full sending it. You may be right. He may not be able to make it at all. Austin Edwards thinks he can.
Yeah, we'll have to see. 93 laps would be a long time to go. I don't know exactly when the last time Crapser pitted was, but it has to be close to something to 90 laps. And
they both pitted on that. The top 3 all pitted on lap 231 together.
231. So yeah, you're talking right there about, wow, that's 94 laps. That's just a tough one to make. If Edwards can make it, I mean, that'll be remarkable. Joe Campbell just had a moment. I don't know what just happened there. We'll try to figure that out. But Joe Campbell is slow in the middle of the track, and oh my goodness, he's trying to make it into the pits, and he finally does. And I don't know what his issue was, but he will make it down into pit road. So Campbell makes it into the pits.
He's under power.
He must have gotten sideways or something, because all I saw was his car slow in the middle of the track in harm's way. It was concerning. He wasn't 5th, too, you know? He was having a good run. We'll have to see if this affected him at all. Looks like there might be some more damage on that car than before. I think he might have had some sort of incident. But anyways, looks like Kendrick Cryer. And here we go. Alex Crapser down in the pits. Crapser cannot make it. He comes into the pits. So, Doug, it comes down to this. Can Austin Edwards stretch it 94 laps, or will he have to come down into the pits? It looks like he's full committed here.
Yeah, Austin now has a 13-second lead over Noah Carpenter. He's been fuel saving since the last green flag drop. I think if anybody can do it from here, it's him. It's Jonathan Bronson now on pit road as well. Crapser on his way out with a quick stop. It looks like fuel only. But I think Austin's not going to take the risk if he can't do it. I think he's conserved enough fuel. I think he can go the distance.
I don't know, Doug. 94 laps is an awfully long time. We're going to have to see. But, I mean, he has all the racetrack in the world to work with to try to save it. So as things cycle through, Bronson gets back out of the pits. Carpenter's still on the track. I don't know. Carpenter has been probably at the second best fuel mileage all night behind Austin Edwards. So if there was another car that was going to make it, it would be Noah Carpenter. He's been pretty close to Edwards in fuel strategy all night. He's maybe been just a few laps shorter than Edwards has been. But here we go. As things cycle through, here's where we sit. It's Austin Edwards in the lead, Noah Carpenter in second, Alex Crapser's in third, fourth Kendrick Cryer cycles through, and fifth right now is Steven Rex, who I don't believe has come to the pits yet, but regardless, he is currently in fifth place right now. I don't know what kind of fuel strategy he's on right now, but I'm imagining he probably can't make it to the end, but that is to be determined. And in sixth place right now is Parker Retzlaff. As Jonathan Bronson gets loose, he puts Crapser into the outside wall. The third place car gets a bunch of damage, as, oh my goodness, that was a change of events. Oh, he's still getting beat up. Crapster gets moved up the track by Wetton. He's losing all sorts of time right now.
Let's see what happens here, starting with Bronson. Bronson clips the apron and goes up. Crapster takes a hard hit to the outside wall. Keeps going. Wetton just has a run because Crapster has to get out of it to gather it up. And Wetton just gets into the side of it. Finally, Crapster gets her gathered up. Manages to hold on to that top 3 finish, but you know he has got to be frustrated after having such a great start to this one, having a great run all night, to get knocked around like that.
And so here we go, Doug, this time by 14 laps to go for Austin Edwards. And Doug, it's been a weird season for that 18 car. It started out at Charlotte. Austin put it in 5th place to start out the season. Then the second race of the season, Doug, Austin wasn't there. Kyle Martin drove in and filling duties there. Kyle Martin led 1 lap at Rockingham. You know which lap that was? It was the last one.
And he won that with a pass in the grass, we might add.
He won it through the grass, missing the wreck with Alex Crapster and Matt Baer, so the 18 car got a win there. But then next week, which was last week at USA, it finished dead last after Austin Edwards drove it into the pit wall in the first green flag pit stop. So up and down season, but Austin here now leading this race, and this is the kind of run that could turn the season back around into a championship run, and he is looking to make Moonlight Speed Concepts the first team to 2 wins in the very, very young 2023 season.
Yeah, and it's worth noting, as per XCAL rules, at 10 next time by, there will be no more wave around. So if the caution comes out before lap 5, then nobody is getting waved back to the lead lap. And at 5 laps to go, Aaron Hillebush will say, green, 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 there will be no more cautions tonight.
Here we go, 10 to go, it's official, 10 to go for Edwards. He seems fully committed to not coming down into the pits. Noah Carpenter has yet to come down either. He just now takes 10 to go. He's 15 seconds behind Edwards. Edwards has all the time in the world to save fuel right now as that car continues to lead from 5 flags. Now 9 laps to go. Your top 5, Edwards, Carpenter, Crapser, Cryer, Retzlaff. Top 10 is 6th Bronson, 7th Bartles, 8th Gilliatt, 9th Jimmy Johnson, having a good start to the season so far, another good run. And round out your top 10, Matt Baer. What a nice recovery.
Yeah, speaking of nice recoveries, what about Retzlaff's? Ended up parked against the wall earlier on, then the incident with Matt Baer. Still has managed to come back for a top 5, but you mentioned Jim Johnson. Jim, buddy, keep it up. You are having an awesome, awesome season. I am proud of you. I am really happy to see Jim out there. Jim didn't join XCAL. He joined late in 21 at the massive Well Petey and came out, had a great run there, and then came in last season and has just continued to improve all season long. And here we are at the start of a new season. Jim's up there battling for the top 10 in points.
Yeah, really impressed with Jimmy Johnson. Here we go down into turns 3 and 4, though. Austin Edwards brings that machine down off of corner number 4, and at the flag stand, the starter, Aaron Hillebush, shows 5 fingers in the air. 5 laps to go. There will be no cautions. This race is in the books. Whatever happens now happens. XCAL rules. No cautions in the last 5 laps of the race. Edwards brings it down again. 4 laps to go, Doug. He's feathering that throttle. It's running on basically fumes right now. Does that 18 car have just enough gas to bring it home?
Yeah, and it's going to be... I really think Austin's not that close. I have a feeling Austin's got plenty of fuel to go the distance. Getting word that the incident with Joe Campbell was Robert Colgan getting into him and turning him sideways. That was the incident we saw with Joe Campbell earlier on. So heartbreak for Joe after Joe running in the top 5. That moves him way back.
And here we go.
He's actually on pit road in 26th.
2 laps to go for Austin Edwards. He comes around, popsicle sticks in the air. Austin Edwards, an up and down season. Finished 5th at Charlotte in the season opener. That car, the 18 car, driven by Kyle Martin, won at Rockingham in an exhilarating finish. Last week finished dead last after Austin made a rare mistake, but I talked to Austin this week and he said, you know how champions respond to terrible mistakes? They come back and they remind everyone why they're champions. And here we go, white flag in the air, 1 lap to go. As here we go down the backstretch from Pensacola, Pensacola, Florida, Five Flag Speedway. Austin Edwards through turns 3 and 4. He comes off of turn number 4, and for the 18th time in his XCAL career, it is Austin Edwards out of California taking home the win. Last season's champion gets his first win of the 2023 season.
Yep, and does the patented Austin Edwards drift. Here we go again through 3 and 4, sliding around. Hadn't seen that yet this season, but Noah Carpenter would have come back to finish second. Alex Krapser holds on in third. Kendrick Cryer, what a comeback for Cryer tonight. He comes home in fourth. Parker Retzlaff finishing fifth. Jonathan Bronson, Kyle Bartles, Jeremy Gilliott. Jeremy manages to come back and finish eighth. Jim Johnson in ninth. And the Mad Bear, despite the issues earlier, comes home in 10th.
So Austin Edwards picks up the second win of the season for Moonlight Speed Concepts, the first team to 2 wins this year, and it's done by Edwards. We'll have our top 3 in here for interviews and more in just a moment as Edwards parks it on the front stretch here from Five Flag Speedway. What a great run by Edwards. After starting in 4th position, he's able to bring that machine home into victory lane. As we are going to get some interviews started over here from XCAL Racing in the broadcast booth, and I'm down here on pit road. I've caught up with our 3rd place finisher tonight, Alex Krapser, who had a very good run tonight. Alex, I got to ask you, on that last green flag run there, tell me, so going into that run, did you think that there was maybe a chance you could make it on gas, or what was going through your mind on the fuel strategy there?
So on that last run, I knew I couldn't make it on gas just because having pitted, a little bit earlier on the last run, I could only get 5.8 gallons full out of the full 6.6 of a tank. So I knew I was going to be a little bit short on the last run. So just kind of talking to Noah. Noah said he was going to try and make it to the end, and I thought, well, I might as well go and see if I can get up there, lead some laps, see if make Austin run his car a little bit too hard. Although I know he's way too smart to do that. So that was just kind of the plan. I was going to pit anyway and just wanted to pit and try and be able to get back up to Noah. That's why I kind of tried to pull out a gap on him.
Well, Alex, I got to ask you, it's kind of been a frustrating season per se, and you've had some great runs. Season opener, you got involved in an accident not of your doing, kind of took you out early in the race out of contention. Rockingham had that race won with about 8 to go. A caution comes out, and obviously we know things kind of got hairy there at the end there. Last week at USA, we're looking to maybe pick up a win then with 5 to go. Your teammate Noah on fresher tires was able to get around you. And here another race just kind of looked like you might have a chance, but still got away with the top 3. So obviously a great points run, and I'm sure it feels great to be getting these good runs, but is it frustrating at all to not be getting these wins, or are you happy to be having these good solid points runs early in the season?
Really just looking forward to putting a bunch of good points runs together. I mean, last season we only managed to win 2 races, I think, but we still had a pretty solid season as far as the points go, and ended up with the 2 wins, which are kind of just icing on the cake whenever you are racing with guys like Austin. I mean, and Noah's a real good driver too, but I just want to say congrats to Austin. That was as much domination as I've ever seen in the last couple of years racing this league. So yeah, whenever a guy kicks your butt like that, you just kind of want to go make the car better and beat him next race.
And you managed to stay clear of the Mad Bear all night.
Yeah, that's certainly always a plus. But Alex, always a really great clean effort from you tonight. Good points run as you bring that machine home in 3rd place. We head on to Lanier next week. But who do you think? Sponsors, crew, and team on that 29 machine?
Just everyone on the J&S conglomerate. Everyone on the Aces, Noah and Zach. Zach is always super helpful with the setup, and it's good to have a guy like Parker on our team too that knows a lot of stuff, has turned a lot of laps on the sim. So and just thank everyone on both J&S teams and Danielle and Joe, and that's been awesome kind of running with these guys again this year.
All right, well, congratulations to you, Alex, and good job on another run.
Thanks, Pete.
All right, so that was Alex Krapser, our 3rd place finisher tonight, and I believe a little bit further down on pit road, Doug, you've caught up with our 2nd place finisher, Noah Carpenter.
Noah, that was a heck of a run. You obviously stretched the fuel there at the end, and we were really wondering if anybody could stretch it. You were not saving, it didn't seem nearly as much as what Austin was, and you still made the distance.
Yeah, we thought we figured out the fuel strategy, but Austin was clutching, which never tried, so I gave it a shot and managed to stretch it.
Well, it definitely paid off. You obviously had a fast race car throughout the night, man. But what a great race to come home in second place. Could you have run down Austin? It looked like there at the end, the lap times were pretty even.
No, he had a lot more fuel starting that runoff, so I had to save more than him. So I don't really think we had a shot at getting into him.
Well, you gave it your best tonight. I doubt we'll have to do the dishes again tonight, so great job there as well. Any team or sponsors you'd like to give a shout out to?
I gotta give a big thank you to Aaron for putting this on, the XCAL Web Shop Series, and everybody. Joe, Danielle for putting in this car. I wouldn't be here without them. Whole team for backing me up and everything. Act, setups, Alex, everything. Just thank you.
Congratulations, money. More money for that real world race car, and we wish you the best all summer long.
Thank you, guys.
All right, now I'm down here in Victory Lane where the champagne, or the orange juice is flying, I should say. Austin ain't 21 yet, as we're celebrating down here in Victory Lane. Austin Edwards' 18th career win in your signature number 18 car here in XCAL Racing, and you do it in pretty dominating fashion. Austin, first and foremost, I got to ask you, how did you have such great fuel mileage today? You know, we saw a guy who's great with fuel like Alex Crapser not get the mileage you did. Your own teammates were getting quite that mileage. You know, what was the secret to your fuel mileage tonight? Because you were truly in a league of your own in those terms.
Honestly, PD, first off, I gotta say it's great to be back here in Victory Lane. No, it hasn't been too long, but it felt like a while since it's the first of the year for me as a driver, but obviously the second for the 18 car. I can't take all the credit tonight. Freaking Kendrick Cryer's a killer driver and builder for this track, and he hooked us up with an amazing car this week, and obviously not perfect results out of them, but overall a great job out of our Moonlight Speed team. Honestly, PD, my best friend today was my third pedal. I don't know if you guys caught it on the broadcast, but going up into the corner, I was shutting that motor off every chance I had, and I feel like a lot of people are going to be shocked I'm saying that over a broadcast, but I figured people would have figured it out eventually anyways. But yeah, just going around the track, and especially the track like Five Flags, a bit wide, open corners, you can just kind of coast it around, and that ended up being my best friend today. So overall, a little luck with how the cautions fell, and obviously that first caution when I had a lap or two on the field was a big relief in general. But yeah, the good effort by Carpenter and Crafts trying to get up there, but when luck goes on your side around here, it's a lot easier in this league, so ended up being a great night.
Austin, I have to say, I noticed at one point there toward the end of the race, about halfway down the back straightaway, you were hitting the clutch. But your lap times were not dropping like what we would normally expect. Did you just have that good of a run off turn two?
Well, it's very possible, Doug. I mean, we had some great drive with this car this week, but at a track like Five Flags, it is easier than you would think, just because there is big, wide sweeping corners. So most of the time you would lose on corner entry by coasting up into the corner. You can make by rolling through the center a lot better, because unhooks the engine from the car, lets everything roll freely, and that actually gives you a lot more roll center than you think. So it works especially well at a track like Five Flags, but it's going to be much more challenging for the next few tracks we head to.
So, Austin, I want to ask you, obviously, this year I'm your car owner. Last year we were rivals, but this year I've gotten a chance to work with you quite a bit. And I know last week, you probably had one of your lowest points in XCAL. You made a rare mistake entering the pits, destroyed your car, just a self-admitted error on your end, and took yourself out of the race. Got your first career last place finish last week. And this week, though, me and me talked quite a little bit in our team chat there, and I know you're kind of down on yourself, but I just reminded you, champions respond in a big way, and for you to actually, put that into motion here tonight, and you came out and responded after probably your lowest low in XCAL and responded with a win. Just how does that feel for you, redeeming yourself after that moment with a victory?
Petey, it's a mix of emotions. I never live mistakes like that down, and I honestly have never made a mistake like that in the history of sim racing for myself on here. So it was definitely a low point, but all you can really do at that point is pick yourself up, make sure it doesn't happen again, and I feel like that's what we did this week. So still a little hurt in the heart that we aren't going to have the points lead like we want, but we'll be a lot closer than we were before, and we'll just have to keep the consistency like we did last year.
Yep, next week, week 5, we're going to Lanier, and the points battle's certainly starting to heat up, and tonight you made a big statement, cementing yourself right back in the battle for the second year in a row. Austin, I'm going to let you go celebrate with your team, but before you go, who do you thank? Teammates, crew, sponsors, and any fans you got watching out there?
Well, just as I said before, Petey, a big thank you to, of course, Kendrick for the killer car this week, and all the guys at Moonlight Speed Setups. We put together one heck of a car today, and I feel like that showed for all of us, even though some of us didn't have the best luck. But as always, a big thank you to you guys up here in the broadcast booth and everybody at XCAL Racing putting on this great show, and we will see you guys next week.
All right, that is your winner tonight, Austin Edwards, as he gets his 18th career win. 18 career wins. That is just crazy there, Doug. It seems like no matter how much things change in XCAL, the one thing that doesn't change is Austin Edwards finds his way to victory lane.
Well, we've seen it time and time again, obviously, with as many wins as that young man has, and I think as long as he's in XCAL, he's going to find a way to win. I think that's a pretty common theme.
Well, we're going to wrap things up. Here's your top 10 tonight. First, Austin Edwards. Second, Noah Carpenter. Third, Alex Krapser. Fourth, Kendrick Cryer. Fifth, Parker Retzlaff. Sixth, Jonathan Bronson. Seventh, Kyle Bartles. Eighth, Jeremy Gilliott. Ninth, James Johnson. And 10th, rounding out your top 10, Matthew Bear with a nice recovery in that 3 car. And Doug, that'll wrap things up here from Five Flag. We are getting ready for next week for Lanier, where we're going to go for 300 laps from the Lanier Speedway, where you'll be joined once again by Marty Zakala, and for the first time since week 1, I'll be putting the virtual fire suit back on, and I'll be getting behind the wheel of that 46 car.
Well, I'll be cheering you on. Lanier in XCAL is a whole different beast. So we've seen races. We've seen the guy who crossed the finish line first not actually get the win due to craziness on a restart. So anything can happen at Lanier. It is a crapshoot. You got to be perfect all night. But in addition to being perfect, man, you got to stay out of trouble, not make mistakes, not get caught up in somebody else's mistakes. More importantly, and tempers will flare. If they were flaring tonight, holy cow, next week will be bad.
So that wraps things up here for the XCAL Racing Web Shop 325 from Pensacola, Florida at the Five Flags Speedway. Your winner tonight, Austin Edwards, for the 18th time in his career, extends his all-time wins record in the XCAL Racing League. On behalf of myself, PDJ Zeller, the former voice of XCAL Racing, filling in tonight for Marty Zakala, and on behalf of Doug Burns, the color commentator tonight, and the man who presses all the buttons and does all the hard work and makes me look good over here, Doug Burns, on behalf of the president of XCAL Racing, Aaron Hilbush, who makes everything we do possible. And of course, the last thank you to you, my friend. Without you tuning in, there would be no show. Thank you for tuning in. We will see you next week from Lanier, Georgia, where we will go for 300 laps. Take it easy, my friend.
We'll be right back.